gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Prosperity Team Hangout. We are so excited to be here tonight. My name is Paul Hutchings, coming to you live from my home office in beautiful Southeast Idaho. And I'll tell you what, we have a special treat lined up for everybody here tonight. I have a feeling that something can happen to each person that's in attendance tonight, and that is a literal transformation can take place if you tune in and you focus and you open your heart to the information and the stories that you're going to hear tonight. You can literally have your life transformed, and that, my friend, is something to get excited about. So I'm excited about that. I'm also excited about the panel of just literal superstars in the home business profession. I mean, just look up on the screen. We're going to go ahead and, we'll introduce each one of these amazing people one by one when we get to them. But I'll tell you, one of the things that every single person on the panel tonight has in common that you should be very, very interested in is every single person here tonight has literally won a certain level of financial freedom. They've taken back their lives. They've refused to accept the status quo. They've refused to, just do what society tells them they should do. They've refused to accept what life wants to give. Instead, every person on the panel tonight has said, no, I want freedom. Not only do I want freedom, I demand freedom for myself. And they've actually won an incredible level of financial freedom. And this isn't one of those situations where, you've got a bunch of people out there preaching the dream and living the nightmare, as unfortunately tends to happen a lot in the home business profession. And hey, we can't fault those people. We all got into the home business profession for the same reason. We wanted to be free. Challenge is there's a lot of problems out there, and there's a lot of just a lot of things that maybe we weren't aware of when we got into the home business profession, so we end up getting into these cycles where we're not living the lifestyles that we want to live. Fortunately for you, my friend, if you tune in and you pay attention, you don't have to get stuck in that cycle. So I'm excited about the information that we're going to share. I want to give everyone a piece of advice, and that is, if you want to get the most out of the hangout tonight, I want to share with you a little quote. And that quote is, procrastination is the antithesis of transformation. Started talking earlier about how we can literally transform tonight. The only way that's going to happen is if we grab the information, if we grab the golden nuggets, if we grab the tools, the ideas, the strategies, we apply them in our lives, and we literally take action. We make decisions, we take action, we move forward. That's how we're going to transform, and that's how we're going to better our lives. So, my friends, I'll tell you what, as I mentioned, I'm excited. I could go on for all the reasons I'm excited about. We are tonight going to be talking about financial freedom, and I wanted to tell just a quick little story about financial freedom to kind of define what it is, define how I ran into the concept for the first time in my life, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump around to each of these incredible people, and what we're gonna try to do is we're gonna try to get the story behind the story, and that's another thing I'm excited about. Sometimes in the home business profession, sales pages go up and videos are made and things are said to get people to join and to get people to take action. And a lot of times we see, success stories of people making lots of money and having lots of success, but what we don't see is the story behind the story. And that's what we're going to try to do tonight, is dig in and find the story behind the story. Find out what each of these people you see on the screen here actually went through. What did they do? What were some of the challenges that they faced? How did they overcome them? What would they do differently if they had it all to do over again? Because ultimately, that's really the job of a leader, as I see it, is to move ahead in the path and then to kind of turn around and see all the people that are coming behind and do the best job we can to maybe move out some of the stones and the sticks that are in the path so that the people coming behind can have a smoother road to freedom, can have a smoother journey to freedom, right? That's our goal. That's literally every person you see here tonight. Our goal tonight is to help you obtain financial freedom in a shorter amount of time than it took us, in maybe a little bit less clogged path than it took us. So that's the goal. As far as financial freedom is concerned, I wanted to tell just a quick little story. You know, just in case you don't know me, I live in Southeast Idaho. I grew up, you know, here, kind of farm country here in Idaho. Rural community. My town is about 10,000 people. I'm married. I have 4 little boys now, but back in 2005, I was just kind of living the life that I was taught to live. You know, when I was growing up, my teachers always said, go to school, get an education, then you can go out and get a job. And so that's what I did. You know, just kind of following the advice that I was given. So back in 2005, I got married to my beautiful wife, Corrine, and we were just starting out in life, and we didn't have any money. You know, I was raised in a single-parent household. My dad, unfortunately, was an alcoholic when I was a kid, and when I was 8 years old, he decided that, you know, being a dad wasn't really what he wanted to do, so he kind of took off and left our family, and my mom was left with my sister and I, and you know, my mom did the best job she could. She worked an hourly job, and she made enough money to make sure that we always had food to eat and clothes to wear, but we just never really had much money. As a matter of fact, and I kind of like bringing this up, by the way, because I watched a video that Mike Hobbs did about a week or so ago, and one of the things that Mike Hobbs did in this video is he said, hey, you know, you're here because you want to learn how to make money on the internet, you want to learn how to live a lifestyle of freedom. And he said, let me tell you the things you don't have to make that happen. And Mike Hobbs went in and talked a little bit about his story, and he talked about how when he was growing up, he didn't come from a wealthy family. He didn't come from a family where his parents taught him how to be prosperous and how to be abundant. And so I kind of like sharing a little bit of my story to let you know, it really doesn't matter where you come from. You can come from a very poor background, single-parent home, double-parent home. It doesn't matter. So anyway, when I was growing up, I remember literally going to food banks when I was a kid, and we would get these like big blocks of cheese and powdered milk. And I just remember never having a lot of money. I remember when I was a kid, my mom would be sitting at the kitchen counter, and she'd be really stressed out, and I'd be like, you know, Mom, what's wrong? Here I'm this little kid. And what she was doing, I didn't know it at the time, but as I grew up, I found out she was counting the money and looking at all the bills and, you know, seeing that the money wasn't quite enough to pay for the bills, and she was really stressed out, right? So I grew up in that type of an environment. So anyway, when I got married, we didn't have a lot of money. So what my wife and I did is we bought a single-wide trailer house. We got a loan for it. The loan was $13,500. We got a loan from a credit union, and we bought this trailer, and we parked it on my grandfather's land. He has this farm here in Idaho, and he had a little spot where, you know, we could park this trailer. So here I am living in this trailer house, just newly married. I'm working at a job. I was actually working in a call center, answering phones for a company here in Idaho, and driving 30 minutes to work every morning and 30 minutes back, and just thinking that that's kind of what life was about. You know, you got a job, you went to work, you hopefully moved up, you know, the corporate ladder, and maybe someday, you know, things would get better. So anyway, I'm living in this trailer, and I remember one night sitting in the recliner of this little you know, single-wide trailer house, and we actually had one of those tip-outs. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's kind of like an addition on the living room, so we actually had like a deluxe single-wide trailer house. We kind of had a big living room, and I'm sitting there, and I'm reading this book. And this book that I'm reading, someone had recommended that I read it. It was called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And I know many of you tonight that are here probably read that book. If you haven't read it, it's a book I believe everyone should have in their personal library. Why do I believe that? Well, it's because when I read this book, I ran into an idea that literally opened my mind up to what was possible. And I had no idea this whole other world existed. And the idea that I'm referring to is Robert Kiyosaki in that book talks about the different ways there are for people to get money, right? And he says you can get money by being an employee, where you trade your time for dollars and you have to be there to get the money. Or you can maybe eventually, if you get good at your trade, you can be self-employed, which basically means you have a job, but you own the job because you still have to be there for the money. You're still responsible for customer service and sales and marketing. And I was reading this and I was like, okay, well, I'm an employee and I kind of know how that goes. And then he gets over to this other side where he says there's this whole other world of getting money, and it's what the wealthy people do. And he says basically what happens is you can be a business owner or you can be an investor, and what business owners do is they own systems and they own businesses that get money for them. Get this, whether they're there or not. And I was like, what? What do you mean whether you're there or not? You don't even have to be there to get the money? And when I read that concept, I was like, wow, could this be possible for me and my family? Could it be possible that I could set something up that would dump money into my bank account, almost like building a pipeline? You know, you build this pipeline and it's a little bit of work to get done, but once you get it done, it's dumping money into your bank account. Could it be possible that this could be for my family? And I thought, if this is true, what am I doing working 40, 50 hours a week? You know, why am I, you know, traveling for the company and they're sending me everywhere and they're telling me I gotta, you know, punch a clock and tell them when I want to go to the bathroom? Like literally, I had to punch a clock. And many of you, maybe if you have a job or you've had a job in the past, you know that it's really regimented. You have to be where they want you to be. And so I thought, wow, freedom. Could I really be free? And that idea was born in my mind back in 2005, living in this single wide trailer house. And if you've ever had the desire to be free, I'll tell you what, it's one of the most addicting things you can possibly find on the planet. And once you start to believe that you can have freedom, you'll do almost anything for it, which many of us on the panel tonight have done. Lots of, I'll say, very interesting things to get freedom. And I'll share with you just a couple of the things that I've done, and then we'll start bouncing around to the panel members here. When I discovered you could potentially have freedom, I was willing to do anything. So first thing I did is I joined a network marketing company, and I worked for 12 months straight and made zero, not even a penny, not one penny, 12 months. And here are some of the things that I did. I went door to door. I talked my best friend Arnold. I was like, dude, we're going to be rich with this thing. All we need to do is we need to go talk to people, so let's go door to door. So I got my friend Arnold. We got in my car. We went here into town here in Blackfoot, Idaho, where I live, and we printed up flyers, and we literally started knocking on doors trying to get the word out about our network marketing opportunity. Didn't work well at all. We actually got berated by a guy. One guy, you know, we knocked on the door, and he was a very religious guy. Nothing against religion. You know, I think religion's great and inspires faith. But this guy was a little bit over the top, and he started yelling at us, telling us how we were going to go to that bad place if we didn't come in his house and listen to, you know, his spiel on religion. We're like, whoa, you know, we just want to be free. That's all we want. So I did stuff like that. I remember passing out flyers in the freezing, the dead of winter in Idaho in a Walmart parking lot, because we had this, you know, big hitter come into town, passing out flyers, going to insurance agencies, passing out flyers, inviting people to meetings. So cold, literally my fingers felt like they were about to fall off. It was that cold here in Idaho. Didn't work that well, but I did it because I wanted freedom. And I just didn't know exactly how to go about it, right? So I did that for 12 months, didn't make any money. Then I bounced around from company to company to company to company, about 13 to be exact. Why? Because I wanted freedom, and I believed it was possible, and I wanted to make it happen, and I just didn't know where to go. I didn't know exactly what to do. And then finally, in 2010, so remember, I first learned about freedom in 2005, and then in 2010, I got this crazy idea, and I'm still living in this single wide trailer house at this point. I got this idea that freedom could be done, or that it could be done, you could get it by marketing on the internet. I was in network marketing, and I was like, well, there's all these people all over the world, and they're all on the internet. Maybe I can do this via the internet. So I got on Google one day, and I was desperate. I had quit my job. We had a couple $100s a month coming in at the time. This time I had 3 little boys and a wife to support, really in kind of a dire situation. And I got on the internet, and I ran across a guy named David Wood. And David Wood was talking about this thing called blogging. And he says, listen, you can blog, and you can do things on the internet, and you can set up pipelines of lead flow that will come to you over and over and over and over again. And it'll basically make it way easier to find people to build your business. So I was like, great. So I got on the internet, and I started, learning, and I started going through the learning curve, and I started trying to build my own blog and doing all this crazy stuff. And after about 6 months, I started getting leads coming in, and I started signing people up. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. People will actually find me on the internet and join and give me money and be on my team, and I don't even have to leave my house. I don't have to go do any meetings. I don't have to travel 2 hours. And one of the things I did is I was marketing this fuel additive, and we literally drove like 2 hours, and we went and met with farmers at dairies in this like really, smelt like cow manure type places, trying to sell them this fuel. I was like, you mean I don't have to do that anymore for freedom? So this was one major piece to my puzzle, was learning how to do this on the internet. But there was still some problems that I ran into. And some of these problems were, I finally started learning how to recruit back in 2010, and I started building a team. And what ended up happening was I started making some money. Company owner calls a conference call and says, hey, we're going to enhance the compensation plan. And I was like, okay, cool, an enhancement? Come to find out, the enhancement actually cut my income down by 2/3. So that was one thing that happened. Then I joined another company and started building a team, recruiting on the internet. Then the company owner, for whatever reason, decided to take half my downline and move it to another spot in the company. And I was like, wow, what's going on here? Here I am wanting to get freedom, working for years and years trying to get it, and all these things keep happening to me that's keeping it away from me. And so I kept on. I kept on working, trying to find the solution, trying to find the answer. Another thing that I noticed was, as I was building these network marketing companies, I was earning about $1 to $2 residual income per person as I was building these teams. And so my income, like one company, we built a team of 600 people, and my income was about $1,000 until the company owner enhanced the compensation plan and shut it all down. So I had these challenges. The internet was a solution. It was a major solution, but I kept running into challenge after challenge after challenge. And then something very fascinating happened to me, and I want to share this final story with you, and then we're going to start digging into the heads of all the panelist members here. This was last year, and I was in a company that I finally started to have success in. I finally, my first big check was $1,700. Then it went up to, from $1,700, went all the way to $7,240. And I was like, finally, this is the one, right? This is the one. I'm so excited that I'm finally having success. And what happened was, this Empower Network thing came along, and this was about a year ago, and I joined the Empower Network, and I was promoting it very, very passively on my website because I was focused on building this network marketing company. And something really, really interesting happened. Remember when I was just talking about financial freedom in the beginning, how we wanted to set this pipeline up of money that dumps into our bank accounts, and we think that maybe network marketing is the way to do it? Well, that's what I thought, until I finally started succeeding in my network marketing company, finally started making money. And what I realized was that I literally had built for myself, after looking for freedom for 6 years, I had built for myself another job. because that income would only continue to come in if I was there doing the conference calls, if I was there doing the prospecting calls every day, if I was there buying product. I had to buy product at the end of every month. Matter of fact, I should, if I could take the camera to the other room, I could show you a literal room full of product that I have, because I had to buy the product at the end of every month to qualify. And I was like, man, I got myself a job. You know, yeah, I'm making money, but I got myself a job. Well, the salvation came, and this is the final story I want to share with you. I'm promoting this network marketing company. I'm working in this job, really, and I'm promoting Empower Network on the side. And basically what's happening is my leads would come in, and I would send them to a welcome page. And on this welcome page, I would say, here's recommendation number 1, which was my network marketing company. Here's recommendation number 2, which is the Empower Network, that we're going to talk a little bit more about if you're not quite sure what that is. And so here I am working my recommendation number 1, like pounding the phones, doing conference calls, doing all this crazy stuff. And my recommendation number 2 starts to pay me more money than my recommendation number 1. And I wasn't even doing anything with it other than passively advertising it on my blog. So I was like, whoa, what's going on here? You know, this something funky has happened. I'm working my butt off here for this 10 grand a month it was at the time. And for some reason, people are liking my recommendation number 2 and going with it, and my income was bigger. And so I started to take notice of the Empower Network, obviously. It's a good thing that I did, because in that recommendation number 1, the company owner decided for whatever reason that he was going to start a sister company, and he basically cross-recruited my whole team into this other sister company. I saw that $10,000 monthly income drop down to where it is now, is about $1,300 a month. And I remember when that happened, I literally got my team on a phone call, and I literally cried. I think, Mike, maybe you were on that call. Shed tears, because here I've been working for freedom for 6 years, and I thought I had it, and company owner does the same thing that happened to me in company after company after company after company, over and over and over and over again. But fortunately, we had this salvation, this thing that David Wood and David Sharp created called the Empower Network, that, you know, there's a link below this video. I think you can click. It says join our team. You can click that link and take a look at it, and maybe even go ahead and join. But this thing, this Empower Network thing, was the salvation. And I'll tell you what's happened in my life since then. I have had money come into my life with an almost ridiculous amount of effort. I was talking to my wife just the night before last, and I was like, honey, it's kind of weird that it almost seems like the less we work, the more money we make. And she's like, that's not weird. I really like it. And I'm like, no, I like it too. But it's like, that's the way it's supposed to be. That's why we all got in the home business profession. We all got in the home business profession for freedom. And this Empower Network thing is actually making it happen. Actually making it happen. And it's caused me to believe again in the home business profession, where I honestly had lost belief. I didn't think that the pipeline money was possible. I didn't think it was possible. But now I have this Empower Network making it possible for myself and all these people you see on the screen, and a literal army of people who are not on the screen. So that's one of the things that, you know, we want to share with you tonight, is don't make the same mistakes we did. As we jump into every person's story, learn from our mistakes. Don't take 7 years of joining 14 different companies. Don't work for $2 commission on a $60 or $70 product when you can be earning 25 to 100 or even more times that, and win your freedom that much faster. That's what we want you to get out of tonight, is learn from our road and our path and our journey. So with that kind of a long-winded introduction, I want to jump over to John Chapman, if that's all right. John Chapman, hey, are you there, buddy? Can't hear you.
Muted, my friend. Hit that little mic up there on your top right.
Right here.
There you go.
Hey, you there? Okay, cool. So just real quick, John Chapman, ladies and gentlemen, he's going to tell his story here. But recently, just was it last week, John, you had a Freedom Day,
Yes.
where what happened? You won your freedom, man. You won your freedom,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
take it away, man. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, you know what? Here's the deal, guys and gals and folks and everyone else tuning into us. I started in the home-based business industry once long ago, and we're not even going to go back that far. We won't touch on the 45-mile trips that I went to the meeting and back after having worked a full day, getting back home at 11:30 p.m. Absolutely frustrated. Actually, driving down Highway 99 from Stockton to Roseville and coming back home at 11:30 on 99, frustrated out of my mind, like literally frustrated because I wanted success so bad, yet I didn't know how to create it. No matter what I did, whether it be Craigslist ads, hitting people up at gas stations, hitting people up in parking lots, in grocery stores, putting flyers on car windows. I don't know if there's anyone out there that can really relate to that. You know, that was my reality. That was the only thing that I knew how to do. You know, I got involved in this industry, and I kid you not, I kid you not, part of my training was going with my mentor at the time to an office building, to a literal office building that we picked out of nowhere, and we went from office to office looking for potential business prospects. I remember doing this on a Saturday afternoon because we were out and there was an office building that was open, and I kid you not. Now, fast forward from absolutely failing horribly, tremendously, utterly, where the first 2 years of my home-based business journey, I made $0. I mean, literally $0. I made no money. You know, there are these folks like the Robert Mercado's, one of our mastermind team players, that come on and that can earn $250,000 in their first year, and I'm really happy that we have him on our leadership team because I can certainly learn a lot from him. But I wasn't one of those people. I had too much emotional baggage, whether it be from when I was a kid, when I could quite literally barely speak because my stuttering was so incredibly bad, where if I was speaking to you, I would speak just like that. But yet, fast forward here, when I got into this industry and I didn't know where to go, and then finally, I was fortunate enough to be introduced to a group of guys and a group of gals that are quite literally, that have been magic to me and to my family. You know, I knew Mike, I knew Paul from that previous company, and what's really funny is that when I got started online, the second time around, because quite frankly I quit out of disgust the first time around because I was busted my ass and I was getting nowhere. I don't know if any of you guys can really relate to that, where you come online and you're working hard, you're starting to get a little bit of traffic to your blog, and your name is starting to get out there, but yet you're making no money. It's like the emperor with his fake suit of clothes. You know, sure, you got good blog rankings, but you made no money that month. That's where I was at. I got sick and tired of all the BS, of all the little quote-unquote systems that are having you join 35 different affiliate programs to finally get set up, to finally build a business, only to have their leadership team come and pitch your people on 20 different programs. Now, a lot of you know what I am referring to when I say that. That type of behavior, that type of leadership, that type of mentorship actually drove me out of the industry. It drove me out. Now, from there, I came down over here on a local basis to work with local business owners, because I thought, hey, you know what? That's got to be the key, right? I know how to do some things online. Let me go ahead and work with some local business owners and help them get their business online and let them, just allow me to go ahead and use my skill sets. Well, I tried doing that for a while, and no disrespect to the local biz owners out there, but a local business owner's mentality and that is required to create leverage using online methods are very, very different. It became very, very frustrating. So I was like, this is not it. I don't want to be anyone's slave. I don't want to go to the Chamber of Commerce. If I go to another Chamber of Commerce event in my life, believe me, I won't. I won't. Wild horses cannot get me to a Chamber of Commerce event or to do a home meeting for anything. The only time people come over to my home is to have a barbecue and to watch a fight. That's about it. Other than that, don't come over, okay? Because I'm not going to talk business to you offline. So here's the deal. I come back online. I had the good fortune of meeting my boy Paul, of meeting Mike, Justin, Franco. I stalked, but we were in this company. Justin and Paul, they were literally doing live calls. They were doing live dials. That was the training. Everyone would gather up on these phones and listen to these guys literally do live dials. I mean, if you want to talk about how to become a slave in network marketing, how to become a home-based business slave, that's how. Be on the phone from morning until night, right? That's how you become a slave. Have your whole team depend on everything that you do on a personal basis. That's how you become a slave. That's how the dream that a lot of people preach becomes a nightmare. When you have to support X number of people that are totally and 100% dependent upon what it is that you do, you are not free. You are a high-paid slave. That's the bottom line. I don't care what anyone says out there. You measure what they make to how much time is required for them to make that. Because now I can tell you that last year on March 30th, hear me out guys, on March 30th, 2012, after 4.5 years on my corporate job, on my corporate union job, right? 4.5 years working 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., busting my ass for that company, taking all the courses that I could possibly take so that I can make myself more valuable, so that I could hopefully not get caught up in the layoffs, things along those lines. Well, the hammer finally hit. The hammer finally hit. After 4.5 years, they laid me and 180 of my colleagues off. At that exact time, I remember walking in there, picking up my last check, coming out to my car, getting into the car, and looking over to my honey and my 2 children on the back seat, and I gave her my check, and I said to her, I said, babe, I don't know what it's going to take, but I promise you that in 1 year we will be free, and I will never again have to work a corporate job. I will never allow another man to lay claim to my time, to my energy, to my resources. Now, over that course of that year, I busted my ass. Quite frankly, I busted my ass part of that year because when time frames are short, when time frames become short, that's when you become really focused, and that's what happened with me. In December, I actually ran the numbers, and in December, I earned $2,700, right? Which is nothing to sneeze at because because $2,700 can mean a lot to a lot of people. You know, the average household out there, if they just had an additional $500 per month, would get themselves out of a situation where they would have to declare bankruptcy. You know, let alone 1,000, let alone 2,000, let alone the fact that 1 year later, March 30th, 2013, I was able to declare my independence, to declare my freedom by taking my family out to a beautiful day in San Francisco and actually enjoying the sights, actually spending money and not having to worry about it because of my team, because of the work that I put in, because March was the first time in my career that I had earned $11,000 in a single month. But here's the thing that I really want you to realize is that it's not going, if you get to work with us and if you plug in to our morning mindset call, even though that is a generic base, it's just a morning mindset call that you can plug in, that you can change your mind. You change your mind. If you change your mindset, if you change your mind, it will change your life. Your thoughts and your beliefs dictate your actions, which in turn dictate your results. That's key right there. Your thoughts and beliefs dictate your actions, which in turn dictate your results. You change your thoughts and beliefs, it will in turn change your results. Now we've got that. We've got a Monday through Friday daily action assignment where you literally, all you have to do is do what it is that our mastermind team actually instructs you how to do. We've got the systems. We've got everything that we did not have a year ago. That's the key. We make this so incredibly easy. You know, we've got, I don't even know how many people, we've got over 1,000 people on the line right now. Think about this. You don't have to be up here. You can leverage everyone else's story because we work as a team. We are a family. That's why we're called a prosperity team. Team, family. That's who we are. That's what you can be a part of. And all you have to do is click the button right down below. Join now. Come on. It's 25 bucks. You will spend more than $25 going out to a night to eat at Chili's. You will go to a bar and buy 3 drinks, and that is 24 bucks. 25 bucks. Easy. Why not invest in yourself? Why not engage with a group of leaders? Why not engage in a situation where you can quite literally change your life? Because I'm here to say, 1 year later, that I spend more time with my family and I make more money having more fun than I've ever experienced in my life. And I know without a doubt that this is just the beginning. And I, for one, cannot wait for 2 more weeks where I get to party, where I get to prosper with my prosperity team brothers and sisters in Chicago. I don't know if anyone out there is a little bit excited about Chicago, but I got to tell you, it's going to be life-changing, guys, and you should be there. Now go ahead and click that button, join the team, and let's get to work. Back to you, Paul.
John, hey, listen, man, congratulations. And you know, that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way, that's what's supposed to happen. We're supposed to make more money while we're having more fun and working less, and that's exactly what's happening with you, Living Proof, and so many other people. So love you, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, I want to jump over to a guy that I've never actually met. When I was thinking about this hangout tonight, one of the things that I really want to come across tonight to everybody is we're average. I mean, I don't want to say average. We're normal people. We're husbands. We're fathers. You know, we've got some of us maybe not married. We have girlfriends, boyfriends, but we're just regular people who have decided to make powerful decisions in our lives. And one of the things I was going to say is none of us glows in the dark or shoots laser beams out of our eyes. But then I thought about John Moroz, and I was like, oh shoot, I don't know if I can say that because this guy like makes $500,000 in his sleep from one of his income streams, He's DJing all over the world, literally glowing in the dark and shooting laser beams out of his eyes. So I couldn't say that about you, man, but I'm excited to hear what you have to share with us, folks. John Moreau's just internet superstar. You there, man, John?
Oh, you're muted out, buddy.
Oh, yeah, you're muted.
Okay, you hear me now?
There you go.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks so much for having me on, and Paul, yeah, I appreciate the intro. I actually came across one of your videos the other day that just, man, you had me in tears almost with the, what was it, your mortgage getting paid off? That's just incredible, man. I'm so happy for you, so proud of everybody here. It's just an amazing thing. So congratulations with that. But yeah, as Paul was saying, I kind of started out as an entrepreneur as long as I can kind of remember. Not always successful. When it came to what I used to do before this industry, I was involved in the nightclub industry, and I guess if you can read my little title down there, it says psychologically unemployable, and that's true. I mean, I bounced around from job to job, and I just could not find myself working for somebody. So what I did is I actually at the time was very involved with music and DJing. So at the time I was in Baltimore area, Washington D.C. area, which is almost impossible for a DJ to go out and actually get a gig anywhere because there's so many DJs everywhere. So what I actually did is I actually started throwing my own parties, my own events to get some kind of recognition. So I learned a little bit about marketing there. And again, I wasn't very successful at the time, but kind of built on it and built upon it, and made the move down to Jacksonville and kind of stuck with it a little bit longer. And it kind of built up after a while. I started getting recognition for my DJing and some of the events that I was throwing. And some of the bigger promoters for some of the bigger nightclubs started to recognize what I was doing and started to book me for some major festivals and some major concerts. And soon enough, I was traveling the world with some of the biggest DJs in the world and doing some of the biggest events. Actually, I still do it part-time because I love the music. So actually last week I was in Miami playing at the biggest electronic music festival in the world. We had 260,000 people there, so that was kind of crazy. But before, where I used to do this 5 to 6 days a week, and barely, some of these events would pay pretty well. It just depended. But I used to do it 5 to 6 days a week. I'd be in London one day, I'd be in Amsterdam the next day, I'd be in Ibiza the next day. And as fun as it sounds, it really takes a toll on you. And I always ask myself, is this something that I could see myself doing the rest of my life? In my late 40s, my late 50s, my late 60s, and there was just no possibility. So I mean, I had to look for something that was just a little bit more stable. And at the time, Jacksonville was my home base, Jacksonville, Florida, and I was able to get plugged into some of the super clubs there, some of the bigger clubs that had like a 5,000 person capacity. And these guys wanted me to take a full-on residency. So I would not be traveling the world anymore or DJing all over the place. I would actually be stuck with one nightclub and kind of signed a contract with them. Well, these guys were not the nicest guys in the world, but I signed with them because I wanted something a little bit more stable. So I stayed here in this place, and in the end, a 5,000 person capacity nightclub, there's a lot of things that have to happen to fill this venue every single night. So we actually started to go in different directions with music, to country and top 40 and you name it, just all over the place. And the kind of music that I play is electronic music, and it's in its own genre. So it's not a common style of music in a smaller city. But still, so I was kind of out of DJing now, and now I was kind of doing stuff that I really wasn't too interested in anymore. I was kind of, marketing top 40 music or music that I wasn't interested in. So it kind of got boring or stale for me fairly quickly. And at the same time, I had already given up my career as when it comes to a touring, traveling DJ, pretty much. So I started looking, and don't get me wrong, it paid okay. I mean, it was enough to get me by, but it wasn't anything to to brag about. So I kind of looked for something else going on. I just, I had a lot of friends in the nightclub industry, and I just said, hey, I'm looking for other investments. I'm looking for something I can do outside of the industry that might be able to pay me long term. And sure enough, one of my friends approached me, and they said, hey, one of my buddies is throwing a little party, at his house, and he's got an opportunity that you can look at. So I said, sure, let's go. So on a Friday night, I went over to this house, and I think there were like 10 or 15 people in the room, and I walked in, and they had a projector on the wall kind of showing a comp plan. And at the time, I had no clue about network marketing or the MLM niche or affiliate marketing or any of this stuff. But I sat in the back of the room, and I kind of watched people draw the circles on the whiteboard and explain when this person gets this person, and this commission gets passed up here and here, and it was interesting, But at the same time, I looked at these people, and this is kind of different from where Paul and John and I'm sure a lot of the other people in this panel had come from in the old school, having to go out and pass flyers out. I saw right from the beginning. I said, "Hey, there's no way that I'm going to do house parties."
Everyone else, let's put dunce hats on our heads.
Yeah, you were the smart one, man.
But I mean, for me, it was just like, I had somewhat of a second life in my city at the time. So I just wanted to go and invite my nightclub buddies over to watch me do a presentation on the wall. So I said, there's got to be another way. But at the same time, I have to say that I was totally convinced. Once they explained the comp plan and how everything worked, and at the end of the presentation, they said, so who's in? And everybody in the room stood up and they signed the papers and they joined. I was the only one who wasn't ready to go in. I said, I need to go back and do some research. And that's when I turned to the internet. And right then, I came across a different opportunity that looked better than the one that was presented to me from my friend. And I say, I see hundreds of people online just, advertising these businesses. It can't be that hard, right? They're all making fortunes, is what I thought. So I jumped headfirst into a company that cost $1,000, and I was, being from somewhat of a marketing background, I used to do radio advertisements and stuff like that for the nightclub industry. I thought, sure thing, I've got this handle. I should be able to market this no problem, and within a month I'll be making a killing. So I was way off. Like I said, I spent $1,000 to get into the company, and I had no clue what I was doing. Like I said, I come from more of a traditional background where I expected that I might be able to put some billboards up or run some radio ads, and everything was going to be solved. And it didn't work like that at all. So my first 6 months were spent, looking for solutions. I bought up every piece of software I could think of that guaranteed traffic. I went to all these ClickBank products, and you name it. I mean, nothing worked. So finally, I came across some people, some mentors that were charging a lot of money. I ended up spending about $20,000 to learn how to market your business on the internet. And every single person that I came across, whether it be this guru or that guru or this guru or this $500 course or this $1,000 course, every single one of these courses kept talking about getting a website or a blog online. So right from there, I knew that was something that I had to get started on. The only problem was at the time, I could only send off an email. That was about my limit to technical ability. So that was all I could really do. So I spent the next couple months learning how to install WordPress or get a hosting account, learn about cPanels and domain names and widgets and all this stuff you should not have to know about when you're running a business, because it doesn't produce income for you. Sure, it can be fun. You can treat it as a game and kind of learn all this kind of stuff, but it's not something that you should have to go through when you're marketing or when you're starting a business. But I did it anyways, and I went through those 6 months without making a single penny online, much like everybody on this panel for the most part. And it was a struggle. And I think the only reason why I didn't give up was because I had seen the way that my life was before and the people that I was working for and the decisions that I was making. And this industry not only makes you money, it changes your life on a personal development level. And when I was learning throughout these 6 months, not making a penny, I was still changing my life for the better. And I think that's what really made me stick to this industry for a while. But sure enough, after these 6 months, I actually started to get these websites online, and I actually started to see some traffic coming in because I was following what all these gurus were telling me. Now, granted, at the time I had to pay thousands of dollars for this, But traffic started to come in, and then sales started to come in. And as soon as I learned a little bit more about conversion, well, here, let me say this as well. After getting all these websites online, that's the traffic part. Now you have to learn how to convert that traffic into sales. Those are the two things that really come down to in our niche, is traffic and conversion. And here with Empower Network, you really have these two things taken care of for you. It wasn't until I met David Wood that I think everything changed, because after those 6 months of struggle, I started to see results. I started sponsoring people into my business, and I started to see it pretty quickly. It was, I think it was 800 to 1,000 people within the next month. You know, once I started to get it. So in that 7th month, it was like nothing on my 6th month and 10 grand the next month. Well, the problem was those people that I enrolled into the business were going to go through those exact same struggles that I went through. They were going to have to learn everything to know about hosting, domain names, cPanels, and all this technical stuff that you really shouldn't have to know about. Well, it wasn't until I met David Wood that he says, you know, I think we have a solution to this problem. And he explained how he was coming up with this idea. This is before Empower Network started. How he could totally eliminate all the technical challenges, so that when somebody gets started and they press a button, all that hosting, domains, technical, all this stuff is completely solved that second, so that you can actually start marketing your business and not having to worry about all the technical stuff. So what I had to go through before in the past, when I enrolled these large amounts of people, I actually became like a customer support center rather than somebody that was running my business. All these people were calling me every single day. Hey, John, you know, how do I install this header to my blog? How do I put a autoresponder on my sidebar? How do I do it? You don't need to know that stuff. I mean, you shouldn't have to do this stuff. So here with Empower Network, all of that is solved for you, and it really is incredible. And it removed all of that, the technical challenges, and it gave me the ability to actually market my business, get plugged into, get people, my team, plugged into a system that actually works, into a group of leaders here from a prosperity team, which is just unbelievable. And actually have people start creating results. I actually did a webinar with our immediate team last night, or a hangout, and it's just amazing to see. You know, I had a girl named Lynn that's just been with us for a couple months that had her first $3,100 day. You know, another guy that's been on the leaderboards, Jeff, who's always in the top 30. There's just so many amazing results that are happening here on this team. It's just unbelievable. It's like nothing I've ever experienced before, and I'm just happy to be a part of it, you know? So that's, in short, my story. I kind of wrote down a couple things that I wanted to cover here, but, you know, yeah, real quick. You know, there's a lot of people on this call. There's a lot of people that are here on the prosperity team already. There's a lot of people that we invited out that have probably been to a couple hangouts before that haven't made a decision yet. And I'll tell you, for me, it was that one moment of decision that shifted everything in my life. That one time when somebody actually brought me out to that house party where they showed me the presentation. And there's a couple moments in your entire life where you can look back and say, that was the moment everything changed for me. And I think that right now, if you're getting ready to get started, or if you've looked at this before, you can probably look back at this point in your life and know that this is the chance, this is the opportunity, this is a decision that can change your life if you take advantage of it. So if you're new here, I recommend just clicking the link right below and actually getting started with the prosperity. Oh, nice.
John, just you're amazing, man. Love watching what you do and love seeing how many people you're helping. And just wanted to highlight real quick one of the things that John mentioned. He went to a meeting, and then what did he do? He went home and got on the internet. The marketplace is changing. I mean, it has been changing for a while. That's what people are doing. That's the way business is shifting. John, I wanted to ask you just real quick, you're the #1 income earner on the entire prosperity team. I think you've earned $500,000 in the Empower Network in about 1 year. Is that right?
Yeah, I checked the back office, I think like a week or two ago, and it was like right around 560,000. So it's moving.
and this is just one of your income streams, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so last question. When somebody clicks on the link below and joins for $25, are they going to I mean, are you willing to teach people what you know? I mean, are you willing to share?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, as I was saying once before, you know, I when I enrolled a lot of people, I had to make a decision. I was either going to be a customer support center and take calls from 8 o'clock to midnight every single day, or I was going to learn how to use systems. And I literally stopped marketing my business for months, and I put together a system that teaches people exactly what I've done on a step-by-step fashion. And they'll get access to this as a member of our team, as a member of the Prosperity team. But on top of that, Mike Hobbs and you guys have just done some amazing stuff with the systems that you all have put together. And now our systems are all integrated. And I believe, Mike, you can probably answer this, but as one of the bonuses, we're going to integrate in the new team site that's coming up. Is that right?
Yeah, everything from all the leaders will be in there at the different levels. So it's gonna
Okay, great. So yeah, you're not only you'll get access to everything that I've personally done. You get access to everything that 40 plus six-figure earners are doing on the Prosperity team. I mean, everything's in place for you guys. It's just absolutely incredible. Yeah.
Amazing. So for the $25, you get a blog that you don't have to do the hosting and the banner and the autoresponder and all that stuff that any of us have done business on the internet had to go through, bang your head against the wall, brain damage, and you get access to this guy's skills and knowledge. Just amazing. No brainer. $25, absolutely amazing. Let's go to one of the, thank you, John. Let's go to one of the powerful female leaders in the Empower Network, a lady that I have never met. However, I did watch one of your videos today and was really inspired. Carol Delfit, is that how you say it? Delfit. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. I did want to tell everyone, Carol is a top-tier veteran in the industry since 2000. Grandmother with 9 grandkids, number 21 on the contest leaderboard for Empower Network. Folks, there's over 100,000 reps in Empower Network. This lady is number 21, and she has earned over 170,000 in Empower Network on a very part-time basis. Wow. Take it away, Carol. We want to learn a little bit about your story.
Well, thank you, Paul, for that introduction, and I'm so blessed and privileged to be a part of this panel, so thank you so much for inviting me this evening. A little bit about my story. I've been an entrepreneur, I think, for all of my life. In fact, I recently got a new mentor, and he asked me how long I've been in business, and I actually said, you know, I think I've been in some type of business or another for all of my life, and my very first business was a lemonade stand. Now, some of you out there can actually relate to that, having your very first business, and remember how it felt to be able to make your own money? That is just the most powerful feeling, to be able to make your own money and then to be able to decide how to go and spend it. In fact, I don't remember who it was, but on the Prosperity team, someone was in there, one of the leaders was in there typing about his experience of being a paper boy. You know, how he remembers taking the wire cutters and snipping open that bundle of papers and folding the papers, and he could smell the ink, and you just remember those things. And then he went out and collected the money, and then he had to turn in, of course, pay for the papers itself, and then what was left was the money that he made. That's such a powerful feeling to be able to make your own money. And when I had that first lemonade stand, I remember that feeling of making my own money. Well, my businesses have matured quite a bit through the years, and I actually got married right out of high school and started a family and had 4 children. And as a way to help with the family income, I started a craft business in my home. And I went out on the weekends and would sell my craft projects. And I did really well with that. In fact, so well that I went, when the kids got a little bit older and got in school, I opened my first retail store. Well, that went really well, and within a couple years, I had 3 retail stores and 30 employees. So I had, you know, a lot of experience with business offline, and I did that business for 18 years. So for 18 years, I was responsible for my husband, my 4 children, 30 employees, and 3 retail stores. So I was a very, very busy lady. But that industry started changing, and, you know, all of a sudden, instead of the business paying me, I was paying to keep the business open. So if any of you are business owners on the panel here or watching this, you might be able to relate to this when you have to borrow money to make payroll. Or, you know, you keep getting those notices from the 3-letter agencies that you have to give them more money and more money and more money. So I could see the writing on the wall. The industry was changing. So I closed my business, and I took a job in corporate America with a publishing company in management. And it was a really cushy job. I loved it. I had some really good people that I was working with. But I was away from my family 50 or 60 hours a week, and I didn't like that at all. And what really was the straw that broke the camel's back is I was making this company millions of dollars, and of course I got my little, you know, paycheck that I get to take home. So I knew that I was better than that. I knew that I could create more financial freedom for myself than being boxed in this situation. So in 2000, I quit my job. I came home and I sat in front of my computer because I heard lots of people making lots of money on the internet. Of course, I told my family that I was going to make a fortune online, and they laughed hysterically because my biggest challenge at the time was learning how to use the mouse. I knew absolutely nothing about marketing online. My daughter, who was 13 at the time, she was the youngest of my 4 children, she had to show me how to, you know, open the emails and send attachments. So you could tell from just doing those little skills, I had a long learning curve to go through here. So, but I was determined to do this. So I bought everything that I could possibly find out there. And in the year 2000, there wasn't a lot of information like we have. You know, you open your email and you're just getting bombarded with stuff. But there was nothing like that then. So I bought whatever I could, and I attended internet marketing events. I was constantly traveling to understand how these guys were making this money. And I started making a little bit of progress. By 1 year, I finally created this, you know, pretty decent looking website. Of course, it wasn't even online yet because I hadn't learned how to FTP it. You know, all these books would tell you that you needed this stuff, but they didn't tell you how to do it. So then, you know, the second year I learned how to get my website online. And then the third year I learned how to put that opt-in box on it, you know, how to add the code to put the opt-in box. And then I finally got an autoresponder system that I knew that I needed, but I didn't know how to hook it up to that little box on the side. So all this stuff took a long, long time for me to figure out. And I was doing some network marketing on the side, you know, with the phone, the offline stuff, not making any money online, but I was still making some money, you know, doing some network marketing on the side. And everyone that I would come in contact to, I would ask them for their email address. So this was probably the smartest thing I did. And I had a little database of all these email addresses I had collected. And of course, everybody was trying to understand how to make money online because we all knew it was possible, but nobody had a clue how to do it. So I had come into a little financial challenge, let's just call it that. And my daughter was graduating from high school, and I had sent out the invitations to have an open house at our house. And we were really struggling financially at that time. This was in 2005. And I didn't have any money to pay for the food for this open house. So I'm, you know, thinking, what the heck am I going to sell? How am I going to make some money? And, you know, plan B was to go borrow the money from somebody, but that was so embarrassing. I didn't really want to do that. So anyway, I knew I'd figure it out. And then if I had to, I'd have to go to plan B. So anyway, about that time, a friend of mine had sent me an email, and he said, you know, Carol, check this out. He bought this little ebook, or it was a report or something. It cost $29. And all of the stuff that I had been learning about the internet, it was really, it had put everything in a nice little ebook where it had just it seemed like it had put all the pieces of the puzzle together. And I thought there were some really good nuggets in there and some missing pieces of the puzzle. And I thought, this is really good. And I said, you know, I bet the people on my list would love to have this information. And at that time, I wasn't even thinking about making any money with it. I just thought that they needed to you know, get this information. So I signed up as an affiliate for that program to sell that little ebook, because it was $29, and for every one I sold, I would get to keep $20, and it was an instant thing that went to my PayPal account. So I thought, well, I really wasn't doing it to make the money, but if I just got my money back, I'd be thrilled. So I typed up a little email, put in my affiliate link, pressed the send button, and then went to, you know, go clean my house or go do something. I was out of the office for a couple hours, 3 or 4 hours. And had forgotten all about it, and came back and opened my email, and I almost fell out of my chair, because I had, in that short time, 50 people bought that little ebook, and times $20, I made my first $1,000 online, and I didn't even know what the heck I was doing. But this really started my wheels turning, because I had about 400 people on my list, and remember, I didn't even know how to use the autoresponder system. I had manually put those people in my list because I hadn't figured out, you know, how to hook it up yet. But my wheels started turning. If I could do that with 400 people on my list, what could I have done had I had 4,000 people on my list? So, but that little, you know, though it was just $1,000 and may not seem like a lot of money, since then I've made a tremendous amount of money, but that was the tipping point that really proved to me that this was possible. So then I just was determined more than ever to start building my list and creating value for my list. And it kind of went on from there. Within, I think it was 9 months after I made my first $1,000, I was doing $60,000 a month, because I had been a really good student of, you know, learning how to drive traffic, and I had developed those types of skills. And once you develop those types of skills, it's like riding a bike. It stays with you. When you learn how to market, you can use those skills to market any product or service online after that. It's kind of like the world is your oyster. So whether you have an offline business or an online business or another product or service that you want to market online, once you understand how to market, you can use those skills to make money at the press of a button, which I've been able to do ever since then. Of course, it's, you know, been up and down. I remember hearing Paul saying something about, you know, the companies enhancing the pay plan. Well, I've had my pay plan enhanced a few times too, and kind of got knocked out of the ball game several times with the companies that I was promoting. So anyway, come to where we are now. It was in the fall of 2011. I was marketing a top-tier program and doing pretty well in there, but I had a lot of people in that program, and they were struggling to make money. It was a $3,500 program, so it was a big-ticket item, and they had to put out a lot of money to come in. And I wanted to find a way for them to experience results in their business immediately. So I came up with the idea of putting together what we call a funded proposal, which is really, you know, a fancy word for just selling a small product on the front end and then getting people into your funnel and then upgrading them to a bigger program. And so I was thinking about putting that together when an associate of mine sent me an email about this new program that was launching. And so he asked me to get on, watch this video. So I clicked on this video, and here I see these two guys in a hotel room. They're in tank tops and shorts and flip-flops, and one guy was on a chair jumping up and down, and I'm thinking, who are these yahoos, you know? And I almost shut it off, but then, of course, it was Dave and Dave, and David Wood started talking about why he was really doing this. And my ears kind of perked up, and he said he really wanted to help people get ahead in life. He had experienced tremendous success in the industry, and he wanted people to be able to get that same success, that same feeling of, you know, financial freedom. And so I kind of put my judgment aside there and really connected with what he was saying, because that's the same thing that I want for people. I have been so blessed with the money that I've been able to make in this industry, and I want nothing more than to be able to help other people to feel that same freedom and that same success. So I kind of aligned with him, and decided to go ahead and join the program. So I joined the program, and then it launched, and I was actually going to be out of town when it launched, but I had a website link. I didn't even really know what the whole program was about, but I sent an email to just a small part of my list that I had been working with, and sent an email to the list and went out of town for a couple days. I went to a marketing event, and at the marketing event, I was having trouble getting online, and I was having trouble with my cell phone, so I was not very well connected while I was away, but anytime I'd steal a couple of minutes and could get online for somebody using somebody else's computer, I kept seeing these emails. Congratulations, you made $25, you made $100, you made a $500 sale, and it's like, what the heck is this? I didn't even know what it was. I forgot I sent that email out. So when I got home, I looked at it, and I had made I don't know, $3,000, $4,000, or even $5,000 while I was gone from this little program. And I'm thinking, wow, I didn't have to make a funnel. I didn't have to make a website. I didn't have to do any telling, selling, or sorting. I didn't have to do anything. So, all that was done for me. So then I sent a couple more emails to my list announcing this, program, which was actually the easiest thing I had ever done. And I think by the end of the first month, I had made $12,000 with Empower Network. And of course, just as a disclaimer here, you can make a lot more money and you can make a lot less money. And if you don't do any work, you're not going to make any money. But from working online for the past 13 years, I have to say this is the easiest thing I've ever done. But more importantly, the education that you get with Empower Network, the products that we provide, which is the education on how to market, that vital skill that you need to be successful online, it's just so powerful. And from a person who's actually I've literally spent over $200,000 on my marketing education through the past 13 years. And I can honestly say that what we have in the 15K formula is worth probably upwards of $15,000. I'm sure more than that. Each of those modules is worth well over $1,000. And it's the information that's so vital to your success. So if you haven't purchased the 15K formula, that is the one thing I would suggest you do if you're already a member, to go ahead and upgrade and get that as soon as possible, because that, my friends, is the information that you need to have success online. And another thing that I absolutely love about Empower Network, and then I'll kind of cut it short here because I know we've got some other people that want to get on the interviewed tonight as well. But I have to say, this community is such a powerful community of like-minded people who want nothing more than for you to be successful. And I think that is one of the best things that we have going for us right now, is that we truly want success. And when you get around people in Empower Network, you feel like you're a part of us. We all feel like we belong. No matter where you come from, our differences dissolve in that we all want the same things. One is to be financially secure, to make sure that our families are taken care of, and then to reach out and help others. And I think no matter where we come from, we're all wanting the same thing. And Dave and Dave have been tremendous, tremendous leaders spearheading this movement that's called Empower Network. And so if you're curious to see what we're all about, I encourage you to come to the Chicago event. Of course, the Chicago event is for members only, so if you go ahead and click that link down there, and you can become a member tonight for $25, and you can come and meet us and see what's going on in this movement, and decide whether or not you want to hang on our stars here. And these are just some tremendous people. I'm so privileged to be a part of you this evening, and I'm going to turn it back over to you, Paul, I think it was.
Carol, amazing, amazing story. Did you say that it took you 3 years to learn the things you needed to learn and then you started making $60,000 a month?
Actually, it took me 5 years. From 2000 to 2005 is when I made that first $1,000. And, you know, I'm seeing people in my organization make $1,000 in their very first week. So you see how that time has been shortened with Empower Network.
I did want to just make one point on that. You know, entrepreneurs, it seems like one of the secrets is they know what they want and they're willing to stand by until they get it. And your story was just a perfect illustration. You told your family, I'm going to make money on the internet. They laughed. You said, I'm going to go the first year. Didn't happen. Second year, didn't happen. I don't care how long it takes. Then you go 5 years and boom, a 60. Was it worth it? Was the 5 years worth it? I mean, it's a silly question.
You know, absolutely, because like I said, it's a skill that I now have. I can go anywhere. I can live anywhere that I want to in the world. I can do this business from anywhere because I now have that skill.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you know, I was going to ask her, would it have been easier had she had Empower Network when she started? But she already answered that question. She has new team members coming in and making $1,000 days their very first month. So click the link and join if you haven't done so yet. Want to go to one of the most exciting stories in our team, a new team member, somebody who, I'll let him tell how long he's been in, but he's somebody that I saw him, you know, popping up, getting on the calls, going to Mike Hobbs' daily training, and then next thing I know, he's popping out 5-figure months. And like Carol said, one of the really exciting things for us in this business is seeing other people go out there and grab that freedom for their family. So, Mr. Robert Brown, man, you're inspiring all of us. Tell us a little bit about your story to freedom, if you would, please.
All right, can you hear me clearly?
Yep,
all right.
You sound good.
All right, excellent. All right, well, thank you, Paul. You're doing an awesome job, man. Thank you for giving me a chance to speak and come out on the Hangout. Definitely, I got started, man. I have to take you all the way back to college when I was 21 years old. It was my first experience in the home-based marketing industry. Actually, I worked for a huge Fortune 500 company at that time. While I was in school at Morehouse College, I worked there part-time. And, excuse me, I was involved in collections on a part-time basis, but I was doing better there than a lot of people who were full-time. I was 21 years old. Majority of the people who worked with me, were, you know, in their late 30s, early 40s, and even 50s. So I was the youngest one there. And I just say that to say that about 6 months into working there and having my first corporate American experience, my company and another huge company merged. And when that happened, I mean, I thought I was doing well because I was making $25,000 a year plus commission on a part-time basis, you know, putting in maybe 15 hours a week. But I saw people's lives destroyed when this happened. I mean, they literally called us into the cafeteria and they promised us that nobody was going to have to worry about layoffs or anything like that, that this was going to be a great merger. And the next week I saw, you know, friends of mine that I had developed being escorted out by security guards. And, you know, at 21 years old, to see that, I'm in college, I'm, you know, looking forward to, you know, working in corporate America, and I see that happen. I just knew at that time that corporate America was not going to be where I was going to end up. So basically at that point, I met someone on that job who was involved in network marketing. And my parents had been involved in network marketing, had done pretty well in network marketing, so I was excited about that. And I actually went to a meeting, a home meeting, just like what some of the other people have said. And during that home meeting, I was introduced to a business that I got really excited about. I saw opportunity for me to, you know, make the world. Of course, you know, they paint the picture, but it didn't work out like that. I did what a lot of has been mentioned on the call already, you know, going to the malls and, you know, trying to get people at the mall. I don't know what we were thinking at that time, but didn't work for us. in any case, I did start to have some success about 5 months in. And once I started to have success, even though my parents, as I said, were, had a background in network marketing, I didn't introduce it to them. I actually went to some of my friends at the school at Morehouse College, got a couple of them involved, and started to have some pretty good success. Then about a year into it, I took it to my parents finally because they wanted to see what I was doing. And I started to have a lot of success in the industry, in the business. I actually took a year off from school to actually build my business over in London and take it overseas. So for me, network marketing, my first introduction to it, it took about 6 months, but I did start to have some good success. And I spent time in that industry until about 2003 when I had built a huge organization that was international, was making pretty good money, graduated, retired from college where I didn't have to work, was living on Palm Beach Island in Florida, thinking things were going well. But actually my wife at the time, we were having our second child, and she had some complications with that. And during those complications, I took a little bit of time off from the business, and it was what I could do. You can look back and say it was a mistake now, but I kind of I was forced to turn my business over to my business partner that I was working with that was in another line of sponsorship in that company. He ran the meeting. So, of course, all my people were plugging into that meeting. And make a long story short, National Convention came. My team went there. They came back, and during that convention, he actually introduced them to another business and took about 50% of my team with him to this other company while I was, trying to handle things at home with my wife who was, having complications with our second child. So from that experience, I really resigned myself not to get back into the industry. I joined our family business, which was a mortgage business my father had been doing for over 25 years. Got involved in mortgages, and you guys know from 2003 to 2007 was a great run, and we made a lot of money and had a lot of fun. But 2008 hit, and when 2008 hit, it was not so much fun. At that time, I had developed I got into commercial real estate finance and had developed a pipeline of over $500 million. I had diamond mines, resorts, you name it, I was financing it. And when the market crashed, it dissolved all of that. Not one of those loans closed over the next course of that next year. So, fast forward, that brought me to about 2009 when I met my new wife, my current wife, I should say, and things started looking very good, but I didn't know what direction I was going to go in terms of my entrepreneurship because my mortgage career was over at that point, and I got started in collections, which is where I had started in college. Getting back into collections this time was not like it was the first time. It was to say the least, I felt like I was working for Satan. I had bosses who were telling me to be meaner to the customers, to be more aggressive to the customers, to basically beat them, and it was a terrible experience from the standpoint of, I would see collectors put the debtor on speakerphone and hear them cry, hear old women crying, and they're laughing at this, and that's not me at all. So it got to a point where I decided to leave, or I tried to leave, and they said, we'll give you whatever you want. So they made me the first collector to be able to work from home. And once I was able to work from home, I was able to do things my way, became the number one producer in the company, broke all kinds of records, and have fun with it. But it got to a point, once again, and about 6 months later, where you guys know how bad the industry was in terms of short sales. People could not give the houses away just a couple years ago in 2009. So basically, at that time, I had to decide what I was going to do, and I decided to leave the collections industry. And I had a six-figure income at that time, and my current wife, she supported me in that, and we decided to choose a better lifestyle over the money. So I went from making six figures to we decided to pursue our passion, which was working with children. And we developed a summer camp, a Christian Kids Academy, that was summer, winter, and spring. So basically the times that the kids were out of school, we were having a summer day camp. That summer day camp, it did pretty well, but not six figures. So if you can imagine going from a six-figure income to making like 30,000 a year, it's pretty hard. Um, and doing that, we just kept with our faith. So I immersed myself in children. I became a private tutor. I became a teacher. I became a coach of 2 basketball teams. My wife and I, we have 5 children together, and just immersed myself in kids. But once again, I knew that I wanted to give my family more, and I wanted to give them the lifestyle that I knew they deserved. And through all of this time that I'm telling you, all of this time I tried off and on to succeed online. And for me, I don't know if you guys have been noticing a trend with everyone on the panel, and just since I've been in the Power Network, I hear from a lot of people that they spent, anywhere from 6 months to years before they started to make money online, and it was a consistent thing. For me, since 2001, I would do it maybe a month at a time. I would I would get an e-course or an e-book and try it out. Nothing would happen. I would just be like, this doesn't work, and just go back to what I was doing. It just always seemed like whenever I had the time to try to put in online, I really didn't have the money at that particular moment to, invest in a $1,000 course. Or if I had the money that I was making when I was in the mortgage industry, I was working 80-hour weeks, so I didn't have the time to put in, online. So I had never made any money at all. From 2001 to last year, I had made no money, not even $1 online, with all my efforts of reading ebooks and trying this course and that course. The change came for me in August of last year when I saw a video done by Mike Hobbs, and that video just changed my life. I mean, he was speaking directly to me about everything that I was seeking from an online business, how he would coach me on a daily basis and give me assignments and hold me accountable and teach me exactly what he knew to make me successful online. And it sounded great, but what was more impressive to me was, as soon as I signed up and I started to experience it, I was like, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. I know that I'm gonna have success in this if I just focus not on the money, but focus on learning the skills, as Carol said. Once I have the skill, I know that I can market anything. So Empower Network at that time, it was an upsell from the initial product that I was marketing with Mike. And when I saw Empower Network, I had heard of it before, but I didn't really know that much about it. And when I watched the video, man, I'm just like, I stayed up all night just, planning, because I couldn't believe that these 2 guys who were young and just, long hair, Dave Wood with long hair, and I do my best not to curse, because I'm a teacher, but I'm also an adult, every once in a while slip happens, but I'm seeing these guys, dropping F-bombs and being completely themselves, and being completely transparent with who they are and what their background was. That just impressed me to the hilt. I had never seen anything like that, offline or online, that these 2 guys were that successful that they could really be themselves and foster a culture of people being themselves and not putting on airs or trying to front, but the more that they were themselves, the more people were attracted to them. And that just really impressed me. And I got started with Empower Network, like I said, at that time, and didn't make any money for about a month and a half. And then I signed up my first representative, my first affiliate, and Mr. Travis Holder. And once that happened, it was over. He and I just went to work. We got on Paul's mindset calls every day. We adjusted our mindsets. We, started getting in more into meditation and into our yoga, and just understanding that it's all about the inner game. Because we both knew that. We both have had success in, like I said, offline before. But one thing that I've noticed, and I'm sure you all can attest to, is there is definitely a spiritual nature to the internet. It seems like the more the more you work on your mindset, the more immediate you see results online. For instance, I can look at a difference between when when my mindset is right and I send out a message to my list, and when it's not. And you can see an immediate difference between the conversions and the responses and the hits. It's immediate. So, we really, from seeing that early on, we really worked on our mindset. And I would like to, encourage everyone who's, looking at this, who's in Empower already. The mindset is the most important thing. Paul Hutchins, man, you're doing an outstanding job emceeing this panel, this hangout tonight. It's not like a plug, but I would encourage everyone to get on the Think and Grow Rich call every single day, and have your teams do that too, because it takes your mind to a whole nother level. I mean, Mike Hobbs gave me the suggestion, so I'm giving you guys a suggestion. In the morning, my morning ritual, I cook my breakfast, take my shower. I have the call on speakerphone, and I'm walking around the house with it wherever I go and listening to it. My family's getting it. I'm getting it. So definitely, you definitely want to do that. And just to close this whole thing out, basically what happened after I took the training seriously and focused on what I was doing with Empower Network, I was able to hit my first 5-figure month online, which is incredible to me. That I was just excited about making $1 online. I didn't anticipate. I thought that maybe it would take a year before I hit that in Empower Network, and it took 6 months to do. So I'm very blessed. I'm very fortunate, but I want to let you guys know that I'm nothing special. That I have a work ethic, yes, and I developed a mindset. But if I can do it, you guys can do it too. You don't have to be super have a background in online marketing, because I didn't. You don't have to have already had a list, because I started with 0 list. Basically every excuse that you can throw out of why you won't be successful, there's someone who's done it with that same excuse that you're giving. And I also like to say one of the things, because I know Paul said at the beginning of the call, what would we have done differently? One of the things that I would have done differently that I didn't do, I was very cautious early on in the business, and I only wanted to deal with what we call cold market, just people that I didn't know. I didn't want to introduce this to anyone that I did know. I wanted to see if I could be successful in that way, and I was successful in that way. However, I could have made probably 5 times as much money if I would have introduced this to everyone I knew, and not been hesitant about doing that. A lot of us, we have reputations, we have brands, and we're trying to protect those. I can tell you that this company is a company that definitely, especially as you learn more about it, you can feel comfortable exposing to everyone, and that's what I'm doing now. And I actually had the dreaded thing that many of you can relate to happen to me just 2 weeks ago. 2 of my top, I don't want to say prospects, but 2 people that I really would have loved to be in my business, but I thought that they would never, ever, ever look at Empower Network. I called them up, and they were like, that's what you're in? I just got started in that 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, what? So I encourage any of you guys who are in Empower and who are not, share this with everyone, because everyone needs Empower Network. It is the bridge to go from offline to online, which every business is going to have to do in the next 3 to 5 years. So with that, I thank you guys for giving me the time, and God bless you.
Robert Brown, you are an inspiration, my friend. Just loved hearing your wisdom and your story, and just seeing what you're doing out there in the marketplace, man. We could talk for another 30 minutes on the things that you shared, but we're crunched on time, so we got to keep moving. But man, you just keep being a light, because you're inspiring so many people. Don't stop, keep doing it. Robert mentioned A lot of great stuff. One thing he mentioned was he started getting on a daily webinar. One of the things that's so different about this team, the Prosperity team, is we are fortunate to have an individual by the name of Mike Hobbs who loves people and wants to see people succeed so badly that he has committed an hour of his time every single day, Monday through Friday, and he's done this now, I think, for over 2 years. Mike, is it 3? How long have you been doing this?
2 years officially. I had a break with my deployment, but
2 years. 2 years. So anyone that joins our team, when you click, if you're already a member or you decide, you make the decision right now to join, not only are you going to get all the training, not only are you going to get access to all of the people here, you're going to have access to daily coaching with someone who, in last month, him and his partners, just in Empower Network, did $100,000. This guy is available to you every day at noon, and he's one of the most amazing people I've ever met. So, Mike, hey, we want to hear from you, man. Tell us a little bit about your journey to freedom and what you see here with the Empower Network. Oh, Mike, you're muted.
You're muted, buddy.
I think.
Hit that mic.
okay, here we go.
Okay. I think I did that. I'm sorry.
It's all good. But yeah, we actually made 42,000 in Empower, and then we made up about 100,000 total, which was pretty
sorry about that.
but yeah, it's
apologizing for 40 grand.
I know.
Yeah.
But the bottom line, guys, and I actually think it's funny because I'm excited to be on the panel with Paul because, I just want to tell you a quick, story about how good Paul is at selling. Because the bottom line is I was in another company with him, and he was doing those prospecting calls like John was saying, and I was successful. I was recruiting people without calling people. I was doing really, really well. And Justin Varengia and Paul, they got me. I actually bought a $100 a month phone service. I bought a bunch of leads, and I was literally ready to sit there and start dialing leads every single day, even though I was already successful. I was successful, and I was literally ready to dial leads every day.
I'm so sorry, Mike.
Tell him it's slavery, baby.
Because, so I think that was really fun. That just tells you what an impact he is on me, because I was willing to do that if that's what duplicates, and if that's what duplicates. But bottom line, we realized that I actually did one phone call and then I stopped. So I wasted like $300 or something because I bought like $200 worth of leads, $100 software, and I did one phone call. And I'm like, this is dumb. I'm not doing this. So yeah, I give up on that dream right there. But I've always hated calling leads. I mean, I actually had a breakthrough early on in my business where, it actually had bigger breakthroughs as I went on, and I'll kind of talk about that here in a second. But my first breakthrough was people can actually call me. And that's what I actually started doing, is I was actually getting good at people calling me. And I almost closed like every single person that called me because it was a different mindset. Someone who's calling me about my business, they were interested. So that was one of my first breakthroughs in the industry, is getting people to call me. Now we actually had even better breakthroughs after that. But real quick, going back, when I first got started, I remember I joined a company. It was a telecommunications company. I went to a meeting, and they got me in, and they actually brainwashed me to wear a suit and tie. Like, I literally didn't even own a suit at this point. I didn't own a suit. I had like one tie from my dad that he gave me. I went to church, and that's what I would wear. I wear my white shirt and tie, and I had nothing else. Right? But they brainwashed me to get this suit, and I actually went and bought a suit in preparation to go door to door. I was Mike Hobbs, that never makes phone calls anymore, never does any of this stuff, right? I'll always, everyone knows me as this online guy, right? I was literally getting ready to go door to door. I actually went to a photographer too, and got pictures taken, me in a nice business suit. I actually have that picture online somewhere of me in a business suit. That was like the only time I ever wore that suit. You know? But but it was just kind of funny because I actually got all this prepared, and they actually told me, okay, now we're going to do a home meeting. Okay, so you're going to get everybody to your house. We're going to launch your business. And me and my wife at the time, I was actually divorced from her later on, but my wife at the time, she just said, all right. I'm like, hey, you cook the food and you get everything ready, and I'll get everything ready. I invited like everybody that I knew, everybody. I had this RVP, regional vice president, come over, and then all of a sudden, he comes over to my house, and it was just me and my wife and the RVP.
And a lot of food.
And we were just sitting there, and then all of a sudden I'm like calling people. I'm like, hey, you coming over? Or, you know, are you coming over? So then we started resorting to calling neighbors. Hey, can you just pop over? We'll just give you some food. And I literally had one person come over. One.
That's sad.
one
What was
person.
your click-through rate?
Yeah, I had one person come over, and this RVP, you know, making $100,000 a year or whatever, is just doing this presentation to this one person, and it was just so embarrassing. Honestly, it was just the most embarrassing thing I ever did in my life. I never did a home meeting again. My wife hated network marketing after that, and we actually had problems ever since then because I wanted to keep pursuing the business. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. She didn't. You know, and then I obviously got deployed later on, and she just pretty much left me at that point. But it all started with the network marketing dream, right? The network marketing dream of doing home meetings. Yeah, that didn't work out for me. So, you know, John just never did one. I did one, and it didn't work out very well for me. But you know, it was still cool though. I'm really glad that I got that experience because it taught me a real valuable lesson. You know, later on, I actually quit that business. You know, that was like one of the most devastating things that ever happened to me. I think I don't know why, but I quit that business, and I didn't get back in the industry for about 4 years, maybe 5 years. Like it took that long. And it actually took me, and it was kind of cool that Paul brought this up. I was in Iraq. I was guarding a tower. We were pulling 3-hour on shifts, 1 hour down for break, 3-hour on shifts, 1 hour down for break, for 12 hours, and then we'd have 12 hours off. So basically, on my downtime, I was in a tower guarding Iraq, you know, the FOB we were in. And on my downtime, I went down there and I saw my buddy reading a book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I was like, hey, what's that? And he's like, oh, this is Rich Dad Poor Dad. He talks, you know, he's a big real estate guru and all this. I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. So he let me borrow the book. I read the book, and then ever from that point on, my mindset, everything inside me shifted. You know, I knew and because I had that devastating, you know, experience in the past. My wife left me and all these different things. It was like I was starting all over. I was single. I had nothing. I had nothing going on for me. I was in Iraq, you know, just defending the country, or, you know, defending Iraq's country at the time. Basically, I was just had nothing. So what I did is I started reading that book, and I knew that I can change my stars, I guess you can say. I could take any path I want. Nothing holding me back. So what I decided to do was get into the real estate industry. So when I was in Iraq, while I did that, I basically read every real estate investing book, every real estate mortgage book. I read books like Automatic Millionaire, which is you know, financial type book. And I started building my credit while I was there. So I got credit cards. I started using them, paying off, using them, paying them off. Had my dad close on a house while I was still there, and he closed on a house so I can start building my credit on the house. And I literally got my credit score to about 800, and I know it was 750. It was 750. So it was a really, really good credit score. I had phenomenal credit. I had an income because of military. And here's where my downfall happened. I got good credit. So I had, like I said, 750 score. So I went crazy. When I got home, I was debt free at that time. I literally was debt free in 2006. 2006. Debt free, not a penny to my name debt. Financially free. I was making money, but I didn't have any job, right? I mean, I was working at Walmart, and I didn't have any, income from a business. But I was dedicated. I went into the mortgage industry, and I literally went, drove back and forth and got my license, and I got all that ready to go. And the very first thing I did was I looked online. How do I market? How do I get more mortgage loans? Things like that. And I saw this guy selling the seminar. The seminar for mortgage, and it was a Joel Bauer. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's like this persuasion expert. So I went over to this Atlanta event. It was like a couple $100 to go there, plus the tickets and all that stuff and the hotel. So I went there, and lo and behold, the very first thing they did was, at the very end of the whole thing, he was doing magic tricks, he was entertaining you, he was making you smile, making you laugh, showing you how to build the business, showing you how to do all this stuff. And at the very end, he had a $15,000 coaching program. $15,000 coaching program. And you know what I did? I had great credit. Why not? Slap it on the credit card. Bought a $15,000 coaching program. Turned out to not really do anything for me. Didn't do anything for me. And then the mortgage industry crashed basically right after that, and I had one loan, and that was my own loan. I did my own loan. But then I got into, I got invited to a network marketing company, got in that company, and they did loans too. So I started getting a little bit good at doing loans and doing different things like that. But here's the bottom line is this is kind of embarrassing, but I became a credit card junkie. I was literally addicted to buying things because I had such good credit. I was like, I have great credit. I'm going to go get a home equity line. I literally had like a $70,000 home equity line available. I had like $20,000 on credit cards available. And I was literally just swiping. I'd buy every training course. I'd buy everything that I can do. Oh, there's a product online. Okay, let's buy that. Let's buy this. Let's buy that. Let's buy this. And I was super dedicated to building a business, and I thought that you needed money to make money. So I just kept on swiping that card. I got into $100,000 in debt, and I finally reached my limit where I didn't have any money left. I didn't have a job at the time because I hated jobs, and I quit my job. The funny thing is I actually quit my job because I was getting married, and I asked for time off, and they didn't give it to me, so I quit. It wasn't because I was a rich person. I was making a little bit of money online at the time, but I quit because they didn't give me the time off to go on my honeymoon. That's the real story, okay? But then I built my business, and I was living off credit cards. Then I hit that limit. I literally was rock bottom at that point. I was living a great lifestyle because we bought everything off credit. Everything. Everything was maxed out at one point, and at that point, we had no income. No income. I started realizing, I hit a really breaking point here. I started realizing that I wasn't making any real money. I wasn't making any real money. And it really hurt me because, we started getting creditor calls. Our phone number was just ringing off the hook, with the silent blank number, like the private numbers and the 800 numbers, so you didn't know who was calling you. Literally, my phone was just ringing off the hook. People asking for their money, their credit cards. So it was probably you, Robert, calling me and trying to get me get my money from me. But the bottom line is, it was really hard for me. We were hitting rock bottom. I didn't have any money left. So when people say you need money to make money in this industry, you don't need it, because I hit a point where I had absolutely nothing. I had $500 of real money to my name, $500 of real money to my name, $100,000 in debt. My mortgage was actually getting foreclosed on. It actually did foreclose, and we moved into an apartment. Okay, we were literally, I had a little kid. I remember doing webinars, and I think I told this story once, but I remember my wife was about to go into labor one night, and literally I had a webinar scheduled that night that I had to do to make money. I had to do it because we were so broke that my wife was sitting there having contractions, and I literally said, okay, can you just hold off just a little bit? And she's like, yes, let's do this. We need the money. And literally, she waited for me to do the webinar so that we can make some money so that I could, you know, have money to pay for our kid. Have money to pay for our kid. So after the webinar we made $700 that night. We went and we had Owen, you know, my baby boy, and it was a really awesome experience, you know, to go through those hard times, because now that I realized that, you know, I had to be backed into that wall to make it, to have the success I have now. I had to be backed into that wall. But fast forward to today, you know, we had that $42,000 a month last month in March, just in Empower Network. Total income of last month was close to $100,000. Now I have 4 business partners, and so we split that 4 ways. Plus, I have about $10,000 a month in personal income as well outside of that. So it was really, I mean, our financial dreams are happening. You know, we're at our freedom. You call it freedom. I actually do what I love because I'm inspiring. I'm helping people like Robert Brown. I'm helping people that are following our daily assignments. I really do love what we do. I love doing that daily mastermind because I'm seeing so many results. For 2 years straight, the first year I didn't really see a lot of people having results. And it was probably because of my own mindset. It was probably because of my own mindset. I wasn't where I needed to be at that time. Now we are completely changed. 2012 was a breaking point in my life. You know, I actually remember getting tax returns every year, and I realized that if you get a $4,000 to $8,000 tax return, you're probably not making money, enough money. You shouldn't be getting a tax return every year because that just tells you that you're not making money. But this year, you know, we definitely are not getting $8,000 tax return to say that. But the bottom line is, you know, a couple breakthroughs that I had is you can actually generate leads online. You don't have to do the home parties. You don't have to go door to door. You can actually generate a lead online. Okay, if you take phone calls, you can get people to take phone calls. You can take phone calls in the beginning, but I wouldn't suggest you actually call people. That's a nightmare. Okay, and then the third thing is you can actually make money online without anything. Without talking to them, without, you know, actually having conversation with people. It's the biggest breakthrough I've ever had, to be honest with you, because that first breakthrough was when I had, you know, I was picking up the phone and closing people. But then the bigger breakthrough is when I realized that people will go through a system, if you have a right system, and you can actually make money without getting on the phone, without even being a part of the process. You can do that with systems. You can actually support your team with systems. You know, that's what we have on the Prosperity team. We do a daily mastermind. Paul does a morning mindset call, and I personally believe if that's all you did, if all you did was get on the morning mindset call, come to the noon webinar, and take action on what the assignment that we give you, you will have results like Robert Brown, because he has proven it. Okay, you will have results like we have. You know, it might take you a year, it might take you 2 years. I don't know how long it'll take you. It'll take you however long it takes you to get your mindset right and to start taking daily action. That's how long it's going to take you. So, you know, that's what I wanted to share today. I'm just super proud to be on this team. I love what I do, and I do what I love, and that is why I believe, you know, I'm free. That's why I'm free. Back to you, Paul.
Mike Hobbs, my friend, you are an inspiration, and it really is an honor to be working with you. You know, $100,000 in credit card debt, $500 cash money to his name. Now him and his partners are earning $100,000 months. He's buying $600 watches. He's stacking away money to buy a cash house free. And he's teaching anybody that wants to do it Yeah, woo! He's teaching anyone that wants to do it how to do it every single day via his live mastermind team and you'll webinar, and you'll have access to that when you join. Love you, man. Yeah, I love that hallelujah one. Woo! Let's jump over and hey, listen, everyone that's still here on the Hangout, thank you for you're gonna be treated, I promise, even more so than you've already been. We've saved a couple of the best for last. We're gonna jump over to Mr. Franco Gonzalez. This guy, I don't know him super well yet, but the little bit I know of him, I tell you what, I've already fallen in love with this guy. He's got a heart of pure gold. He cares about people. He's a master of his craft. He's been fighting the forces of evil for 10 years, I believe. And he's here to lock arms with anybody who wants to and help them break through and find freedom. He's also been a mentor, I should mention, to too many to number 6- and 7-figure earners in the home business profession. Literally, he's mentored people who have generated just amazing amounts of income. Mike Hobbs, one of them. Lots of people on this webinar. We could trace our genealogy back to Franco Gonzalez in terms of where did our training come from. Came from this guy who got it from this guy who got it from Franco. So Franco, we want to hear from you, man. Tell us your story.
Wow, guys, it's a...
Wait.
Wait up. There we go. Oh, so it automatically mutes everybody. That says, I don't know why this is backward. I don't know if it's still doing backward, but the LOL is pretty universal. So, but no, what I was saying, guys, and you know, it's unbelievable to sit here and see the vision that we had so many years ago to just help people. This thing, you know, a lot of people come here and they wonder, is this just a get-rich-quick scheme? Is this about making money? Is this this? Is this that? They go through some pretty sizzled-out sales, you know, funnels and marketing messages, and they see us celebrating our victories with our big checks that we get on stage, and it's very easy. It's very easy for people that don't quite understand what it takes from a mindset and a heart and a passion level to really not only make money for yourself but help other people make money. It's very easy to judge that and all of a sudden start crying hype and this and that. We could get into marketing and talk about the fact that if you don't move people with emotion, they ain't going to move. Everyone's sitting down at a couch watching TV, going to a 9-to-5 that they know is not good enough. They know it's not good enough for their family. They know they're not doing their part, yet they don't care, and they just sit there on a couch. So many people, not everybody, but so many, until somebody lights like some belly fire in them. Somebody reminds them they got a spine and they can make a decision and they can change their life if they just make a choice to, and gets in their head a little bit and shows them that, hey, you know, here's somebody that was failing for years and he's doing it for his family and he's free. Here's somebody that just started 5 months ago and they're doing it and they're getting free and they're doing it for their family. And here's a lady that's got all kinds of stuff going on, yeah, all kinds of experience, all kinds of, you know, this and that and drama and life and responsibilities and career, yet they decide to get up and do something about it, find a role model, find a system, keep their mind open, as Justin says, empty their cup, relearn some new information and new ideas, and just take action and go out there and get beat up a little bit and kind of see how it happens and see what works and what doesn't work and adjust. And, you know, it's those people. So what's your excuse? To stay on the couch. So a lot of times you need a little bit of sizzle. But, you know, I would say don't confuse our enthusiasm for hype. Nothing that you heard tonight was hype. It was very real. It's people going through journeys. What I heard, the overall theme that I hear tonight is nobody said, and I quit. Nobody said, and I threw in the towel. Nobody said, I stayed on the canvas. Nobody said, you know, that's it, I wasn't worth it, it's not for me, I'm not good enough, I can't do it. Nobody said that here. But we all could have. We all could have. I know we're getting close to the top of the second hour here, so I'm not, you know, go to the other Hangouts, guys. They're all recorded, and you'll hear my story and stuff. This is all about our team. This is all about what you get when you get here. Yes, you're going to get an educational system. Yes, you're going to get a marketing system full of websites so you don't have to create that work that turn traffic into leads into sales. Yes, you're going to get a lot of hangouts like these that you can invite people into off of Facebook, and they're going to catch a fire. There's something in them. They're going to lose some sleep. Yes, yes to all of that stuff. You're going to get all that in spades. You're going to get information products that teach you what Carol took so long to learn. You know, she made one comment that I just want to bring home, because after a couple of these presentations, videos, and websites, people automatically assume that they're entitled to click a button and then by tomorrow morning be millionaires and not have to do anything about it. And like, if that way in any way resembles the real world out there. But let me remind people, people go, if you want to get paid well in this what's well these days, guys? About 35 grand a year? A year? 35 to 40,000 a year, and you're like, wow, I got a good job. I need to buy a suit and an Infinity, right? And get a McMansion and stuff. I'm getting paid. People go through 4 and now 6 years MBA type stuff, 8 years of education, be a dentist, a doctor. They go through at least 4 years of school. Just remind yourself how many people have invested in their schooling and how much does that cost. My brother didn't go to college that way. He wanted to be a systems administrator and be an IT guy and be in technology and stuff, and he had to put himself through. He was bartending, waiting, whatever, but he paid thousands upon thousands of dollars, not even at a college or university. He paid like $20,000 to go to like a trade, I don't know what it was. He went through all of them. University of Phoenix, ITT, DeVry, Kaplan. He was going from one to the other to get certain certifications. Ends up paying tens of thousands of dollars through like 4 to 6 years of time, full-time and part-time, all of that money to get a $35,000 a year job with absolute ceiling, because your job description tells you from day one, it tells you how much money you're never going to make. So on the internet, then all of a sudden people are spending all kinds, years in education, thousands of dollars to pay for that, only to hope, because now it's not even a guarantee, right? I mean, people are coming out of school with all these degrees and they're flipping burgers, right? Not that anything wrong with that. You got to use it as a vehicle in advance, but I'm just saying, for a degreed person, they're paying $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year and barely getting any employment at all. But in a unique, in a good situation, they'd still only be $35,000 a year, and they would be happy. Now they're commuting. Now somebody owns where their kids can go to school. Somebody owns where you cannot live. Somebody owns what you cannot drive. Somebody owns where you cannot go on vacation. Somebody owns when you cannot go to the bathroom. That's what I'm talking about, you know, and yet that's a good situation. Now let's just compare it with a little thing that I don't think a lot of people heard Carol say. She said, and she made it sound like, woo, right, and everybody's like, wow, she struggled for so long, 5 years learning a skill set. But what they didn't get is that 5 years learning something to make $60,000, not a year, that would be great, a month. A month. Everybody here, somebody has come through here in 5 months after going through hell and back. 5 months of education. 5 months of $25 a month to join us? You got to be kidding me. A $19 autoresponder. You got mindset calls every day. They would charge you $1,000 per class in university to attend philosophical classes like this. Then, so you got mindset. Then you have marketing education, which I know you're not going to find at university. Universities are so far behind. They're going to show you how to post ads, create advertising campaigns for Coca-Cola and Nike, and that's a totally different world. So now you can come here and get better than an MBA, a real-world effective skill set for pennies, and you can earn 100% commission. That means you get to keep everything that your system sells for you, and you focus. You know how you make money here? You focus on getting the right message that we give you. Every day we give it to you. We give you the right message. We tell you have to get that right message in front of the right people. We show you where the right people are at, where to find them. Facebook, YouTube, Google+, Twitter, post a couple of little cheap ads over here, little cheap ads over there, advertise a little bit on Facebook, and now you're getting the proper message in front of the proper people, the proper enough times at the right time, and then they see it over and over and over, and then they come to these hangouts where professionals do the speaking for you. They click on a button, They buy an educational system with a marketing system with so many websites right now, guys. I have lost count of how many websites we've coded where all I have to remember, what's my username? Just, take Alex's name off of the net. I see Alex all the time with a new website. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Let me put my username at the end of it. I can use it now. It can sell for me. We used to have to, I'm not going to retell Carol's story, man. I was there. We had to redo everything. It took me years to figure out how to build one capture page. With a click of a button for $25 tonight, you can have lose count of how many capture pages we have. And that's not even saying our team system that's about to get launched too, that you're going to get for free. It's unbelievable. So for pennies, you get education, a vehicle where nobody owns you. Nobody owns you. You own it. The only thing that determines how free your family is going to be in 90 days is how bad you want it and how clear you are on what you want. And that takes a belief that the concept works. The only difference here between us here and anybody out there that's just getting started or learning about us is maybe you haven't gotten to a point where you believe actually that the concept works. Step number 2 is believing that you can use our vehicle too. And we have a big rotation of people. There's all kinds of people every single week from different backgrounds, different genders, single and married, grandmas and young kids, and people that took forever to make stuff happen, people that are just instantly, like Robert Mercado and Travis Holder, these guys are retiring after 5 months. You got to be kidding me. So you see that it's working for all kinds of people. So you cannot say it doesn't work. That's my point. The next point is, even if you don't believe it can work for you yet, maybe you're on your journey. I had years to go. It had nothing to do with marketing. My journey had to do with my own mindset. I was so introverted, there's no possible way the last 10 or 15 minutes, whatever I've been ranting and raving on here for, would have been not a dream but a nightmare for me. I didn't have it on a vision board. I had it on my hell board. It's like, man, I'll be in hell if I got to speak in front of people. I was that introverted. I couldn't even speak to my own cousins at Christmas if it was like, a little dog pile of people. If it was one-on-one, maybe, but if it was more than a couple of people, or, hey, can you say grace? I couldn't say nothing. I'm like, no, let Uncle Mike handle it, right? Very introverted. And there was no internet. There was no internet, so I had to learn it everybody else's way, knocking on doors and doing this and doing that. Here's one concept that lit a fire under my belly. One concept I was taught very early on. I read the same book, my book that I found that really made the change. I'd gone through Napoleon Hill and Dale Carnegie and this stuff, trying to get myself out of my shell, and it was working internally, but it wasn't manifesting in what I would say. I would still freeze up. I couldn't get out of my own self. But what happened one day, I read Robert Kiyosaki's Cash Flow Quadrant, and I saw a graphic depiction of how my family had earned money all our generations. And then the 3 other ways that I had no idea you can make money, or I was allowed to, right? There was a cash flow quadrant, the employee, the self-employed, the investor, and then the person that owns business systems, the owner of a system where the job of the system is to generate cash for the owner and make you free, period. You need assistance, generate a little more cash, set you free, pay for that time, right? So that was a concept that was just totally alien to me. And I got that, and I said, wow, at this point, the internet was just starting. And I said, wow, I have failed for 9 years to try and do it that way. We're in a suit and tie, walking around talking to people with no success and not knowing how to talk and sweating like crazy. So it wasn't working for me, but I saw the internet. And I said, well, what if I can figure out how to take a message, and I don't have to speak it, I don't have to talk to people immediately, but I can, because what was happening was my message was pure, and the system was working because there was millionaires using it. It was me, and I owned that. It was my skill set that was getting in the way. I was getting in my own way. So I said, I looked on the internet and said, what if this is a way to get out of my own way and take the message without me messing it up by being nervous and stuttering, and that throws people off. Taking the message, putting it in front of the right people, doing it over and over and over and over and over until somebody buys something, right? And that's the concept that I took. The concept number 2 was I got myself out of a 9-to-5 job because I absolutely hated it, and I knew everything was limited. So I said, I got to learn some other skills. I got to get into sales. And when I got into sales, the very first time was Northwestern Mutual Financial Network. It's a life insurance company. And I went to them because so-called, they were said to have had the best sales training ever. And I was going in, and my mindset was, I'm going to fail. I know I'm going to fail because I'm terrible at selling, and I can't even talk to people. But I wonder how long they'll keep me so I can learn stuff, before they let me go or before they fire me. So I literally started getting everything repossessed. Kind of my cop story, man. Went through foreclosure because I was set up on a 9-to-5 career kind of path, and I was living that lifestyle all on credit, all on a job salary. And when I went into sales, I just cut everything out cold turkey, and I thought I would make it, and I wasn't good. I wasn't good at what I was doing, but I never quit. Repo Man took away my BMW. Then Repo Man came in and took away my other backup car. Then they started calling about my taxes. And then, Chase Mortgage, and back then it was Washington Mutual, they came and started telling me that I didn't own the house, right? They owned the house, and if I didn't pay, they were going to take it away from me. So I started losing everything in my life, lost my first child, relationships, you name it, everything. The only thing I had is a vision that if I just had a little time, if I just had a little moment to figure this crap out and get out of my own way and go through my mindset journey, I knew I could make this work. And so I put myself subconsciously against a wall. I burned all my bridges. All the ships were repoed. I didn't even have time to burn my own ships, guys. They took them away. They repoed all my ships. I had nowhere to go. And then it became a thing of, you have to make it happen now. So then I knew I wasn't going to do it in a 9-to-5 because that was just killing myself. So I went and I saw it and I said, you know what, I'm going to go to the person in the office that is the best here. And I'm going to sit down with them. And as Justin would say, I'm going to empty my cup. I humbled myself and I just said, look, man, here it is. I know I have skills, but I have massive weaknesses that pertain to this skill set. Maybe in a 9-to-5 job I can survive, but I hate that. I want to learn what should I do? And so I went to somebody that was overachieving, mass producing, the best of the best, and I decided to model what he did. And you know what he told me? He goes, the day you decide to believe that the concept works and that you can do it, it's just a matter of just going through it, man. You just got to get it done. And then years later, I hear David Wood saying exactly the same thing. That's all it was. And I took that concept, and then when I came to the internet, I got into real estate, did the same thing. Who's the top guy here? I want to learn from them. I don't care about the 99% of agents in real estate who fail to keep their license after their first 2 years. I have no time. I have no other option. I can't study defeat. I got to study the winners, the champions, and I got to study them really quick. So that's what I did. And then when the internet started taking off, I did the same thing. I just said, let me find someone who's doing it. I don't care about the average. I don't care about that. I know if I fail, I'll be with them anyway. So why study defeat? I'm going to study winners. And I started modeling what they were doing, much like Carol. It was the same time, Carol. It was the same time span, and the internet was just coming of age, and I just started plugging away, and I said, okay, they say build a list. I'm going to ask people for their emails every single chance that I get. I don't care that I don't know how to sell, but I can become a really good collector of emails, finder of emails, stealer of emails, spammer of emails. I didn't care. I just wanted to collect emails because they said I needed a list. And then they said, you need a high converting offer. You need something that they can look upon and buy, and then you need to plug into something cool on the back end, that will pay you more profit, that they'll buy again, sale number 2, number 3, number 4. And that was the concept, and I just never had found it in one place. It was a struggle. I learned some skill sets. I was able to go full-time. That was a victory in and of itself. But the pain was my team wasn't doing it. Nobody was duplicating what I was doing. Nobody was willing to get their butts kicked like I was. And that was the thing. They would quit. They would grasp something mentally, and I was like, you're 90 days away from winning, man. Just stay the course. Just do it. And they would quit. They just couldn't do it. They didn't believe the concept themselves, wives, husbands, all kinds of stress and drama in life happening. And so I said, I need to find something better or I'm going to burn out. About a year ago, I was burned out. I didn't have any desire. I can make the money I need to feed myself and my family. I had no desire left anymore. I stopped doing webinars. I stopped doing hangouts because I thought I was hurting people, because where I was taking them, I knew what was going to happen. And I just couldn't do it anymore. I love people too much. I couldn't take them down that road anymore. And all of a sudden, just like everybody here, I get this message from David Wood. I saw the same thing. I saw a hippie cursing, but I had been done with suit and tie, and that attitude, that arrogant, fake facade attitude. All that corporate stuff had done to me in my life is absolutely bashed me in the face for years. So I was already done with that. I know I didn't trust suits anyway. So who cares if it's a hippie that's swearing? Let me hear what he's saying. Let me see if he's speaking with a scheme in his mind or if he's speaking through his heart. And that's what I heard. I heard all heart. And you know what? I was all in. Day one, I was all in. And we just said, you know what? This is a place where in one spot, this is the thing we've been looking for. This is the program we always wanted to be in, guys. This is the program we always wanted to find and promote. And so it took me a little while. I sunk my teeth into it, man. And all we do now is get people to these kinds of little videos. That's how. Can you imagine $60,000 a month, $40,000 a month, over $100,000 a month earners in Empower Network, $5,000 a month from people that were not making a penny before. And it's all because we learn how to get a message in front of people that are looking for it. That's the issue with the industry is they don't teach you how to do that. We teach you how to do that every single day, and it's recorded 24/7. You have absolutely no excuse. Do it at 3 o'clock in the morning. It'll still work for you tomorrow while you're at work, right? Get the message out. We teach you how to get a good message in front of good people that are already looking and buying it, looking for it and buying it. And you just do it every day, every day, every day. Once you get out of your own way, it literally takes 1 to 2 hours in a day to do our assignments. And once you develop a habit of doing it after 90 days, it's like a 30-minute thing. You feel guilty that you're done so soon. But a message is getting in front of the proper group of people every single day, and they see a system. And you know what you're going to find? You're going to find people just like us, where it's your message that lands on their lap at the right time, whether it's Facebook, email, videos, whatever. And they're going to come through and they're going to see and feel and hear what we did, and they're going to get in. That's what happened to Robert Brown. Gets one guy that come in, his first guy, and all you need is that first gal, that first guy where it lights a fire in a human being, and you better stand back. They're going to make you money in spite of you because they got their own dreams. And that's what we have here, guys. So don't try to overcomplicate it. I come to these Hangouts every week, and I read the comments, and I love you guys. And I know some are guessing you're brand new. That's okay. Let me show you where to get information. If this is a little hazy, I can understand that. But if they did it the way we're teaching now, where you're at is a page where they're probably using, I hope, a Link Prosperity, linkprosperity.com link, and that puts a little frame above the site. So if you want more information about what are the products, what is this thing, yada yada, and all that stuff, you're going to see a little moving logo up at the top, over there, up at the top left. Click on that, and this is the magic. You get this tool for free. The links on there that will drop down, whoever invited you, it's their links. They didn't code that. They probably don't know how to do that. I don't. Somebody on the team does, and we give it to you. So you can click on the Hangout. They can get some information there. You can click on the FAQ page. That's also the blue button. You can click. Here's what I tell people. You want to learn more about us? That's great. Take out $25, hit the red button, and learn from the inside. Learn from the inside. Give us 31 days. Get into our training. We have too much. There's no way to explain what we have for you fully. It would take like 1,000 Hangouts to tell you everything that you get. Click the red button, invest $25 and 31 days, couple of hours a night, immerse yourself in our training. Don't go trying to learn what we are from people that think they're our competition. I don't believe we have competition. They're all my friends. They just haven't joined us yet, right? But, they think they are, and so they'll say things that are not accurate. Don't go to the wrong people to learn how this works. Come to us. It's $25. Learn for 31 days, and it's real. Either you feel it and you stay, or you don't and you leave. It's no big deal. But what if I can take that $25 decision you're making right now? It opens up in another tab. Go ahead and click and join us. Welcome to the team. We're going to hook you up with all the training. What if I can take your $25 decision and help turn that into the education you always wanted, that you were never going to afford out there anyway, that will pay you not $40,000 or $60,000 a year, but that could potentially, I can't hype anything up, but you see people here earning $40,000 to $60,000 to $100,000 a month. What if you can do that? Would it be worth your time? You know, that's what I have today, guys. I mean, it's a story. We care about people more than we care about money. We know we have something special here, and we feel passionate about it. And, I mean, we just invite people. We're good inviters to these videos. These videos do it for you, and it could set yourself free. I have not clocked it through struggle and everything, but I have not clocked in for any other person. Nobody has owned my family's financial future but us for the last decade, 10 years. You think that's special? Wait until you start having your teammates break free. That is, I heard somebody say it's the most addictive thing, this internet thing, whatever. I forgot the exact story, but it was something about addiction. You want an addiction? Let me show you the most positive crack you'll ever smoke. Have people breaking free on your team. Have people breaking free. Have their vision expand to unlimited. Have their dream just get blown up in their head because they're living a life they thought they never deserved, they thought they would never get, and now they don't think it's like, this is small ball, man. We're gonna run large, right? That's addictive, and that's why we're here. So with that, man, I'm good, guys. Just get in, try, run with us for 31 days, see what you think about it. And Paul, man, love you guys. Back to you, buddy.
Franco, all I know is as you were talking, my top desk drawer floated open, my credit card jumped out and started banging me in the head, and I was like, stop, I already joined, and it just kept hitting me the whole time you were talking, dude. I love you, man. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for just having a heart of gold and loving people and helping all of us with everything you do. Words cannot express how grateful we are for you, Franco. I'm just speechless. And we got to jump over to Alex Zubarev. Yeah, and more and more and more and more. Now, Alex, this is a guy that I don't understand. I just do not understand. He's making so much money that I've lost track, and the thing I don't understand is he still has a full-time job. He's doing this part-time, and he's outproducing probably 90% or more of all of the people in Empower Network. This is a guy you want to listen to. Alex, thanks for being here, man. Over to you.
Hey guys, thanks for
Hey,
inviting.
Paul, before you get started, Alex is doing this with one hand and one foot tied behind his back. He doesn't even have an autoresponder, dude. He doesn't even have an autoresponder.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, it was kind of interesting last week. But hey, guys, I wanna welcome you and really wanna. I respect you guys. I mean, we have thousands of people watching still after 2 hours, which is incredible. My wife just told me we had like 1,000 people still watching after 2 hours. So I really applaud you guys for taking your time and investing in your future, because guess what? There's so many people watching mindless news on TV and all the negative stuff that's being broadcasted on all the channels. So you really guys are serious, and we applaud you, because it's awesome to have like-minded people watching us and watching replays later on. But here's my story. I mean, I still do this part-time. I find it hard to believe myself, but hey, it works even part-time. If you focus and you plug into our team, you have so many resources, and obviously everyone else described what you guys are getting, and I can't really top Franco what he described, but hey, I'll try. But here's my story. I came to this country without knowing the language, right? So I really don't buy excuses that people tell me via email and stuff like that. Like, hey, I can't do this, I can't do that. So because hey, I went through so much pain and so much frustration in our phone business arena that I really don't buy excuses anymore. But we came here without the language, right? Back in 1993, I was a 16-year-old kid. And I came here with $10 in my pocket. I had literally $10 in my pocket. And my mom came here first, and we rented the first apartment, which was like $400 a month. I started doing like odd jobs and stuff like that, like casual jobs, probably like digging the snow and stuff like that here in New York. But it was a long journey, right? As far as learning the language, learning the new culture, new country, right? So, went through a lot of different things, did a lot of odd jobs, and came. By the time I got my full-time job, I was a computer geek, right? I was always an entrepreneur. Like even back in Ukraine, Kiev, where I was brought up, I always had, like I liked computers, so I was like kind of geeky, right? I had my first computer when I was 14 years old, and which was like crazy, right, for that country back in the Soviet Union. Like we didn't have VCRs, right? And I had a computer, so when all the kids were playing outside, I was just sitting in front of the computer, like programming different stuff. But the point is, there was like, the brick wall was collapsing, right? The communist regime and stuff like that. And we had like first American company that came to Kiev, and they were reselling computers. Okay, they were selling computers and the software and hardware. And somehow I got to know the guy who was running the show, and he gave me access to computers, to play games. I was a kid, right, 15 years old, whatever, 14 years old, and there was a publication called PC Magazine, right, and it was in Russian, right. So that's when my entrepreneurial stuff started to happen. I took like 50 copies of that magazine, right, and somehow I knew there was a conference in the different side of the town where there's a lot of geeks, right, about that love computers, and I took my bag with 50 magazines. Somehow I got on stage, okay, and this guy announces, "Hey, this kid has PC magazines," and this swarm of crowd, they started throwing money on stage. Basically, like 50 magazines were gone in like 60 seconds. So that's when I really got the taste for how to make money, without, having a job, That's when it started. So, rewind, fast forward 10 years. I got comfortable. I got full-time job. I was for like I still have that full-time job for the last 13 years, and I never knew about network marketing or making money from home. And one day, a friend of mine comes over with a mystical juice bottle that I thought it was wine. I told Vitaly, I don't drink wine, you know me. And he's like, "Oh, no, it's not wine. You gotta listen." So basically, he pitched me on this network marketing opportunity for like 2 hours, and I asked him like 25,000 questions because I'm a very analytical guy. So, but I joined next day. I was excited, pumped up. Guess what? Oh wow, we got notification from Hangout that we were overextending their bandwidth or something. But I joined the next day, and I probably brought all my friends and family like first 2 weeks, okay? And then what, right? And they were excited because they were getting duplication from me, right? So then we get referral to drive 50 miles away from Brooklyn all the way to Long Island. Okay, the weather was horrible, but I was pumped up. I didn't care, right? So we drove for like 2 hours, right? That's after my work, right? That's like away from my family, from kids and everything. I drive for 2 hours. And, this lady I have to convince for like 3 hours, and my sponsor is there. So we spent another 3 hours. This is like midnight already. So by the time they sign up, okay, but we're driving back, and I'm thinking in the back of my head, okay, so I spent like 6 hours of my time right now to make that, $18 commission? And my sponsor is like pumped up because he's getting duplication. I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm going to keep doing this. This is crazy. If I was willing to do that, how many people in my downline are willing to do this? So that's why people fail in traditional network marketing, because it's really hard to build that residual income. It all sounds great on paper and videos and all those, presentations, but in reality, it just doesn't work for every person like me and you, So fast forward, I found this beautiful online networking world, right, like online marketing. Came across magnetic sponsoring, and bought all those products. I'm sure you guys can relate to that, and started really marketing online, learning how to market online, how to generate leads, because the money is in the list, and I need to build a list. So I started doing that, and never had that much success, but I understood the fundamentals, right? I understood the concept of running the home business. So 3 years, basically, just like Mike Hobbs mentioned, I mean, I was buying like every single course, every marketing tool under the sun, every single day, next day. I mean, my credit cards went up like over $50,000, okay? My wife thought I was crazy, okay? But I knew this was my ticket out, right? This is my ticket to freedom. So I was buying all that stuff. And there was a lot of good marketing courses, but guess what? I didn't have that much time to really go through every single course. So I got stuck in student mode, which is, great, because I knew everything about PPC, how to market on Google, and I knew what the proper click-through rate and how much I need to pay per click, but I never took action. So I never had that much results. So fast forward 4 years, we have, I'm actually took that initial step to go to my first event. It was Orlando event, an MLSP event, where I actually met Dave and Dave. Okay, and I've been following them for a couple of years. I knew he was a great blogger, and I was following his blog for a long time. But here's the funny thing: when I met them, they look like real people, because you think, like, when you see these people on the internet, they think like they're like gods and they got superpowers. No, they're just regular people, just like us. So when I looked in his eyes, I mean, it's like, it just blew my mind how real he is. And we didn't know about Empower Network back then. He mentioned something about 100% commissions, and that clicked in my head, because 100% commissions, that's like owning your own product, okay? That's how you get to keep profits, 100% profits. That's how you break even. You cannot make money if you market something that pays you like 5, 10%, 20% commissions. You're going to go broke. You're going to rack up your credit card debt like no tomorrow, okay? So that really stuck in my head, 100% commissions, right? So basically, I joined like over that weekend, and the first week, I think first 2 weeks, we brought over $10,000 in profits, part-time. Okay, I didn't have a list. I just had some connections on Facebook. I developed relationships over the past couple of years, but guess what? I have brand new teammates that making it happen. The first $25, first $100, first $500, first $1,000. That would never happen in traditional network marketing, in traditional MLM, ever, with little effort that they're doing, Income disclaimers results are not typical, but we have so many stories like that, thousands of stories, and we're not typical people, because, if you want to be typical, you stick with your JOB for the rest of your life, right, Franco? So, the stuff that we bring on a team here with all the bonuses and this incredible tool, this Hangouts, that you can invite people on your Facebook without spending a dime on marketing, and you can be in profit mode tomorrow. That's what I call no-brainer, guys. This Empower Network is such a blessing. It's just, I can't put enough words to describe what it is. You guys just have to experience it. Click the link below the video, and your life will never be the same. But you need to get rid of that negative programming that you got, And we're here to help you guys and uplift you and support you guys with all our energy. Our energy is yours, but you need to make that decision and click the link. That's just a short story. I mean, I can go on for hours and give you guys a lot more stories, but I know it's getting late, and a lot of people need to really plug in those numbers. They already pulled out credit cards, and they're ready to rock and roll with us.
Wow. Mr. Zubarev, you are an inspiration, my friend. Just look up to you. So excited about what you're doing, and you're breaking limits and breaking barriers and just showing all of us what is possible, and you're here to teach us how to do it. Thank you for what you're doing. Anyone want to add anything here before we close this thing out tonight?
Yeah,
Franco?
I want to add something. Hit the red button, get signed up tonight, so that tomorrow on the Mindset Call we can hear you. And then at the Mastermind at 12 Eastern, we can train you, and we can help you make some money and get your business rolling. That's what I want to add.
Absolutely. And both of those are recorded, by the way. So if you have a job, you can catch the recordings. I want to close out with just a final thought. You know, back in the day when I was doing those live prospecting calls that Mike Hobbs dreads so much that he almost started doing. By the way, if you didn't catch it tonight, you do not have to prospect on the phone. You do not have to call your friends and family if you don't want to. We have people making tons of money doing things that really shouldn't be working. I mean, when you think about the way things are taught in traditional networking, and you look at what's happening in Empower Network, you're like, it should not be working. People should not be signing up without phone calls. They should not be staying in without phone calls. They should not be making money without phone calls. But guess what? They are. This is the horse we've always wanted to ride, my friends, as has been pointed out by everyone tonight. This is the horse that I'm riding as long as it's going to have energy and legs. I'm not looking to the left or to the right. This is my home. I'm so glad to have found this. I'm so glad to have faith and hope and vision again where I had none, just like Franco. I was burned out. I didn't believe it would work for people. It's here. What we always wanted is here. And my point that I was going to share about those prospecting calls, one of my team members said something very profound on one of those prospecting calls, and I've never, ever forgotten it. His name is Mark Myers. He's back in the Northeast, and he said this. He said, the most important mark on the headstone is the hyphen. I want you guys to think about that for a moment. What are we really talking about tonight here, my friends? We're talking about that hyphen on the headstone. We do not want to get to the end of our lives and say, I wish I would have done something different with my life. I wish I would have gone after freedom. I wish I would have treated my family to a better life. I wish I would have owned my life and done the things that I really wanted to do. We want to take that hyphen. This is what we're doing here, my friends. This is why everyone here is so passionate, is so excited after 2.5 hours. We want to take that hyphen, and if you're willing to walk, if you're willing to move, if you're willing to jog and eventually run with us, we want to take that hyphen and turn it into the mountains and the valleys of your soul and help you cross those with us, because that's what we're really doing here, my friends. If you want to have more abundance, if you want to have more happiness, if you want to feel good about what you're doing, if you want to love waking up in the morning, if you want to have money coming into your bank account that allows you to do whatever it is you want to do in life, my friends, in my 8 years experience in the home business profession, you are never going to find a better chance than you have right now. That's after 8 years, 14 different companies, trying strategy after strategy after strategy, banging my head against wall after wall after wall. This is it. Click the button below. Get started with our teams, my friends. Get started on the journey of the rest of your life, and let's turn that hyphen into something beautiful. Let's turn that hyphen into something amazing. Let's turn that hyphen into something that we can get to the end of our lives and just be like, wow, we did it. We lived every drop of life, and we feel good about it. We did everything we could. We helped every person we possibly could, my friends. That is what we're doing here at the Empower Network. I love you guys here on the panel. I love you guys out there still watching. Take action, and we're not going anywhere. We're here to support. Good night, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. See you guys later.
Bye, guys. Bye.